Or like Congressman Scott Perry, who tells Fox.
Kevin has been in leadership for 14 years. And nobody came to this town saying, well, Washington is doing great. We don't want to change anything.
If McCarthy or someone else does not get the votes to become Speaker, the House cannot conduct business. Members can't even be sworn in, including Congressman-elect John James, who tells Fox.
We squandered a majority in 2016, and because we couldn't figure our stuff out, we ended up handing the gavels back to Democrats in 2018. We need to work together. We need to figure this out.
Brian Kohberger is due in court this afternoon.
The 28-year-old is expected to waive his extradition today and will then be taken by U.S. Marshals back to Moscow, Idaho, returning to the city where police say he stabbed 4 University of Idaho students to death inside of their off-campus home back in November. Then detectives say he drove off from the scene. Kohberger was a student at Washington State. That's only about a 10-minute drive from that crime scene.
Fox's Alexis McAdams outside the court in Pennsylvania. In New York City today, Frank James expected to plead guilty to charges from last year's subway attack that left 10 people injured. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Back to reality. Showers starting to move out on radar. Cloudy and 60 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. Colder air expected to move in behind a line of showers moving through the state today. Temps will start dropping tomorrow.
Starting off like around 50 or so at daybreak, but then falling down to the upper 30s by late afternoon.
Mike Koch with the National Weather Service. In the meantime, more rain expected today with a small chance for severe weather, he says. A teenage boy killed in Indianapolis Monday. Police say that the boy died of unintentional gunshot wounds, as they put it. The shooting happened near the I-70 overpass for North Arlington. A person of interest is in custody. A teenager was also shot Monday morning in Anderson. Harrison Silcox reports.
The boy, who is 15 years old, is okay. Anderson police say he was shot in the hand. Detectives think it happened during a fight outside of a convenience store off Beverly Court. That's near the State Road 32 and Rival Avenue intersection. After the boy was shot, police say everyone else ran off. No arrests have been made as of Monday afternoon. If you know anything, call Anderson Police. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A police chase ended with a fatal crash early this morning on the northeast side. The driver lost control and crashed into a pole near 62nd and Zionsville Road. The driver died in the collision. If you've ever been to Jordan's Fish Chicken Sandwiches in Indianapolis, well, you may not be able to eat there for a while. The Marion County Health Inspector has shut it down for now over several violations.
It was really disgusting. It was horrible. It was sad to see that somebody would do that to a community.
Robert Booker, who lives nearby on Wish TV, customers took video of a mouse inside the store, and another video showed food being served just sitting out randomly. Undefeated no more, the Purdue Boilermakers lost to the Rutgers Scarlet Knights on the hardwood last night, 65-64.
The thing that jumps out for me are the turnovers. You know, I thought we just had some unforced errors there, and they're a tough team and they fight.
Head coach Matt Painter, Ohio State, next on the slate on Thursday. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
All right, Kurt, on the northwest side, West 62nd Street is still closed from Muller Road to Corporate Drive. That is because of the fatal crash we were talking about. Southbound 31 shut down, being diverted at 256th Street. That's about 5 miles north of Westfield. This is a multiple vehicle crash that has closed the U.S. highway. Traffic is being diverted on East 256th Street. Traffic sponsored by Discover. With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply. I'm Matt Baer with Traffic on the 5s. Follow us on Twitter at WIBC Traffic.
Experience the future of connectivity with Spectrum One. You get Spectrum Internet delivering the fastest speeds in the nation for $49.99 a month. Advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced privacy and security, free for 12 months. And a Spectrum mobile line with unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G, free for 12 months. That's Spectrum One. Visit Spectrum.com or your local Spectrum store today. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Winter heating bills got you down?
Save big with Peterman Brothers. Get a brand new furnace for less than $49 a month and no payments till spring.
Plus, for a limited time, we're including a free 15-year parts and labor warranty with all new systems.
We'll also install it next day, guaranteed. Or we'll give you $500.
See why Peterman was voted one of Indy's best and let our family take care of yours like no one else can.
Visit PetermanHVAC.com to schedule today.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Scattered showers and storms this morning. Cloudy, very mild this afternoon. A high of 68. A few scattered showers possible tonight. Otherwise, mostly cloudy. A low down to 45. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
Still some showers on radar. 60 on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, January 3rd. It is 6 minutes after 9. This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Happy New Year. And with this new year, means the Indiana State House will be open for this year's legislative session. The Indiana General Assembly's 23 session kicks off Monday, January 9th. It's going to be a long session. They have to draft the state's biannual budget. They have to pass this before they adjourn in April. Some of their top priorities include education funding, public health spending, potential tax cuts, and issues with inflation. They also hope to address teacher shortages, workforce development, meat packing, and TikTok.
You know, there was something that wasn't on that list, though, Casey, and we're going to start 2023 talking about this because we're going to be talking about this for basically indefinitely, because the Indiana Republicans, who control everything, are absolutely 100% wed to not talking about it. And it's an issue that is about to affect almost every single homeowner in the state of Indiana, and that is what is about to be a skyrocket in many people's property taxes.
Yeah.
It's not for most people, it's not an if, it's not a maybe, it's a win. Mm-hmm. Because as we saw last year, and we've been talking about this for a year now. So if we've been talking about it for a year, you certainly don't get to go, well, that really snuck up on us. This was rather unexpected. Who could have foreseen this coming? If the radio guys have been talking about it for a year, and we've been talking about it for a year because it is a well-duh thing, that if your assessment rises and the taxation is a percentage of the assessment, then everybody, for the most part, is about to get crushed by rising property taxes. So let's explain what's going on to people, because people may be going, a lot of phrases, a lot of this, a lot of that. In the state of Indiana, your home, your property taxes are, the formula is based on whatever your home is assessed at. So in the state of Indiana, your taxes are theoretically, and we'll get to that in a second, capped at 1% of your home's assessed value. That was put in place in 2008 when property taxes in the state of Indiana were completely out of control. And so what the state of Indiana did at the time, and this is the thing they don't acknowledge, is that when they capped your property taxes, caps in air quotes because they're not really capped, they raised the sales tax. The Indiana General Assembly and Governor Mitch Daniels didn't actually do you any favors at the time. They didn't actually cut any government. They didn't actually change anything. They raised sales tax, almost all of that, which went to teachers. So you still paid it. You just paid it in a different fashion. But when they did that, they capped the taxes that you could be assessed on your property at 1%. However, they did absolutely nothing to deal with the assessment process. So what has happened over time, over the past 12 years basically, is that in many cases, home assessments have doubled or tripled. And by the home assessment doubling or tripling, your property taxes are now, for most people, much higher than when the actual tax caps went into place. So thanks to our fine Republican leadership, you have much higher sales tax, and now you have much higher property tax. And thanks to people like Todd Young teaming up with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden to print money like it's going out of style, due to inflation, we saw a skyrocketing of property assessments because the assessment process is, well, what's your neighbor's home down the street sell for? Okay, that's what your home is worth now. But wait a second, Mr. Assessor, I don't have any intent to sell my home. Doesn't matter. Your home's worth that. Your taxes will go up accordingly. So all of this all this has been happening for years, but it is now going to be noticed more by everyone because due to inflation and the magical money printing factory that Todd Young and his buddies in Congress went on, all the homes went up to a point where now you're going to see, I had a person send me a message the other day. This is a middle-class person, a non-political person. I think he has 2 kids and lives a very modest lifestyle. He was notified by his loan provider because when you have a loan, your property taxes are put into escrow, so you don't actually pay that in person. They notified him his property taxes were going to go up $115 a month. That's $1,384 a year. Based on what we heard last year, because you were here at the time, property taxes, that was very similar to what we heard from many, many people. Some were much more, some were a little less, but that is probably what an average person is about to see. You're not getting any better government. You're not getting anything more for your value. The state of Indiana, through a county assessor, has just simply said, you will now pay $1,384 in this guy's case in property taxes.
So the assessor is basing this on the potential value of your home, not actually what it's worth, but what it could be worth if one day you decided to sell.
Correct. My dad has lived in the same house since 1986. I think he paid $75,000 for the home in 1976. Or I'm sorry, 1986. He has never monetized that investment. He's never sold the home. He has no intention to sell it. He will be there until I put him in another home. However, his assessed value on that same home, I don't know, I'm just winging it here, 3-4 times what he paid for the home. He has paid property taxes for all those years on something he has never monetized. And the reason the Republicans do this, and people go, why are you picking on the Republicans? Because they control everything. The Republicans have controlled everything in this state for a decade now. They've had super majorities for the vast majority of that time. Anything that exists because of the Republicans. And the reason the Republicans do this and allow this to happen is you have to live somewhere. You cannot avoid this tax, and whatever they tax you at or say you're taxed at, what are you going to do? Unless you're going to choose to live at a soup kitchen or be out on the street, you have to abide by whatever they say. They have known this is happening for years and years and years. They knew this massive increase was about to hit everyone. And when you look at the priorities, we had an article up there on WIBC where Holcomb laid out his priorities. It's a bunch of radical left-wing bullcrap. It's the environment. It's giveaways to the teachers union. Nothing. It's not on anyone's list. I spent 3 days, Casey, over the weekend. I spent 3 straight days fighting with Jim Lucas about this.
Yeah.
Think about that. 3 days, and he was fighting with friends of mine. He was attempting to tell people this is all fine. And Lucas, now when I say he's better, I'm talking he's like a 2 on a 100 scale. But he's better than most of them. And if he's not doing anything, you can rest assured that Todd Houston and Rod Bray and Eric Holcomb and Jeff Thompson and the rest of those total zeros who are a -8 on a 100 scale have no plan to do anything about it either. You are stuck. And the motto of the Republican Party in Indiana this year should be shut up and pay.
Okay, well, Holcomb's priorities this year are spending on health and education in Indiana. He was asked about climate change, and he did say this is critically important to us. But Jim Lucas said that we have to deal with the hand that D.C. has dealt us.
So
How does that...
So let me
come into play.
Let's take a break on this. And look, we're spending 2 segments on this because this is the most important issue in the state of Indiana this year. Millions of people are going to be impacted by this. They have known, the legislature, the General Assembly, the Republican Party, the governor has known about this for a year. You are about to get crushed, and they are not talking about it. They have no plan for this, and we are the ones, as usual, who are going to lead on this because we are not afraid.
All right, more coming up from Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
what's happening.
More Republicans in Washington are complaining about how much of your tax money they're spending.
The U.S. House passed a whopping $1.7 trillion spending bill.
GOP leadership declares that this bill is a victory.
President Biden says that he'll sign the bill once it reaches his desk.
Check in at the top and bottom of the hour.
You might want to check and see if your county is still under a travel advisory.
Temperatures will warm up into the 50s by this weekend all across Indiana.
Hear the news. 93 WIBC.
Planning for retirement all comes down to what matters most for you. Is it a vacation home? Is it traveling the globe? You could call the team at Howard Bailey Financial to help you plan for your retirement and to help you have a successful and fulfilling retirement. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people, and I'm excited to share that Singer Financial is now Howard Bailey Financial, an Indiana-based retirement planning firm.
The Howard Bailey team possesses credibility at both an ethical and professional standpoint. They will deliver you a customized framework that allows you to create the meaning of retirement. Whatever you visualize retirement to be, let the Howard Bailey team customize a plan specifically for you. If you're ready for your best retirement, come forward and see the Howard Bailey difference.
Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities, LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Norman, before we start the surgery, I have some bad news.
What is it, doctor?
Well, I never graduated from med school. But the good news is, it's the Xfinity Hello 2023 sale. Now hurry, because new Xfinity customers can get 75 megabit internet for just $20 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. And this will get your heart rate up. When you add Xfinity Mobile, you get the best price for 2 lines of unlimited.
I gotta get this deal.
Plus, for a limited time, get $500 back with 2 new mobile lines.
That's amazing, Doc.
I know. I don't want to miss this deal. Let's reschedule.
Doc?
Drop everything and get to the Xfinity Hello 2023 sale now through January 10th. Go to Xfinity.com/Hello 2023. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Internet offer requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After term, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required for Xfinity Mobile. Compares Xfinity Unlimited Intro to lowest price 5G plans of top 3 carriers. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes of usage per line. Data thresholds may vary.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Seminars Thursday, January 19th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. And Saturday, January 21st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Some people get COVID and thought, well, that wasn't such a big deal. But you can get COVID again, and next time it could be worse, especially for those 50 and older, or with a chronic condition like heart disease or diabetes. But with an updated vaccine, you have better protection from COVID's worst outcomes, and that's a big deal. Find updated COVID vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Hagenson, Saturday morning at 8. Learn the answers to frequently asked financial questions and get the latest investment news to help you get the most of your money. Visit creativeplanning.com/radio.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show.
Brian, I'm going to be honest with you. That smells like pure gasoline.
They've done studies, 60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
On 93 WIBC.
20 minutes after 9, this is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC, and some big ticket spending requests. This year include increase in public health spending by roughly $240 million. Indiana's still flush with cash, though, with about $6 billion in reserves, but it's not enough. They want more of your money.
Yeah, and so obviously we started the show this year. We're starting the year, and we're going to stay on it, and we're going to harp on this. I don't know what the end game on this is. Like, I was trying to think, I was going to say, we're going to stay on it until, and then I just stopped and realized there is no plan.
Yeah.
And we're talking about this massive property tax increase that is about to hit the vast majority of people in the state of Indiana. Mm-hmm. And the reason we know it's going to happen is it is simple math, because your property taxes are, the calculation is based on a percentage of the assessment of your property. And last year across the board, and we had people call in, everything from 50,000 to 100,000 of what their assessment it went up. Mm-hmm. Well, if your assessment went up $100,000, 1% of $100,000 is $1,000 a year.
Yeah.
We saw people, depending on where you live, in modest middle-class homes. It's that my property went from $200,000 to $300,000. You're not rich if you're living in that sort of home. People were saying, hey, I live in an 1,800 square foot, ranch home. $1,000 a year if you're an elderly person or you are on a fixed income is a colossal amount of money. Mm-hmm. And the Republicans in this state know this is happening. They've known for a year was happening. And yet when they're laying out, whether it's the governor or the legislative leadership, this should be Bill 1. The assessment process is highly flawed. Property taxes are highly flawed. The whole premise of the tax caps was to get local governments under control, saying you're not our homes are not your personal piggy banks. It was only, 2008, 14 years ago. We're not talking something that happened in the horse and buggy era, and yet we have already moved so far past that, because that's what government always does. Government makes you forget, and government takes as much as it possibly can.
Okay, let's use your dad's house as an example. You said he bought it in 1986, and say he bought it for $75,000. And then one day he gets this fabulous neighbor who does some improving on his property and makes his house worth more money. So now his house is valued at, say, $200,000. Right. He has to pay the property the assessed what it would be worth if he were going to sell it, $200,000.
The home is the only, let's call it investment, that because it's where you live, but let's call it an investment. The home is the only investment where you are punished for not monetizing the item, and you are punished for improving it without monetizing it. Mm-hmm. Think about that. When you buy a stock, you are not taxed on that stock until you sell the stock, which makes sense because the stock can go up and the stock can go down in real time. But in the world of property assessments, whenever the assessor or their appointed goon squad gets off their ass and actually assesses the property, you notice they sprinted out the past year when all the homes were going up. Mm-hmm. Now that interest rates are rising, even if home values go down, they'll slow walk their way through that. Now, I want to point this out. I spent the entire weekend fighting with Jim Lucas, the state representative, who, we're talking hours. He could have been making phone calls to his colleagues. He could have been writing letters. He could have been holding town halls. He could have been doing a million things to try to fix this highly flawed system. But then you realize, and this is the thing that we have been saying for years and years and years on this show, Republicans like and are dependent upon higher taxes. They need the higher taxes to exist, but they need to be able to play the victim in the taxation so that they're not held accountable for it. Here was so we went back and forth again. What a weird thing that you represent tens of thousands of people and you're fighting with a radio guy on an issue that nobody denies is happening. Mm-hmm. It's not like the Republicans or anybody saying, Rob, you're wrong. These assessments have not gone up and the taxes are not going to be higher. No, they just don't want to do anything about it.
He started out really strong. In this note, he said you should know that these property tax issues, tax rates, and assessments are determined at the local level. Yes. And then the wheels fell off.
But yes, you're right. That's how he started the most. But who writes the rules and how the local level behaves? Jim Lucas, the Indiana General Assembly. Well, this is a local issue. Well, you guys have no problem whenever you want to waiting in local issues. They tell local governments what to do all the time. But he wants the money. Jim Lucas wants the money. Rod Bray wants the money. Eric Holcomb wants the money. Here's the rest of this. And as you said, it just goes downhill from here. They're determined at the local level, but that issue is being scrutinized at the state level to determine what the best course of action would be statewide to deal with the hand that D.C. has dealt us. What the hell is he talking about? All D.C. has done over the past several years to the state of Indiana is throw tens of billions of dollars at the state in which Jim Lucas and his Republican colleagues have grabbed it as fast as they possibly could. I didn't see a single Hoosier Republican down at 200 West Washington complaining about the tens of billions of dollars of printed money that Todd Young threw at him. And you know what they did the budget session last time? They got $2 billion the last week of the budget session from the federal government. You know what they did? They looked at public education and said, here, catch. What is this for? Whatever you want, go. I didn't see Jim Lucas say word one about the hand that D.C. was dealing him. I saw his hand out from D.C. saying, gimme, gimme, gimme. Here's the end of this.
Well, the median annual property tax paid in Indiana is $1,263, but you can expect that to go up. And I did see in your arguments that they kept saying, well, we're doing better than Illinois. We're not as bad as the other guys.
That's like saying, well, we got a D. Yeah, but a D's not very good. Yeah, but the other guy's an F. Here, this is how we ended this. And this is what people need to realize. They know there's a problem. He's acknowledging there's a problem. And he's admitting they're not going to do anything about it. And he's going to tell you why right here. And the why is what should make everybody want to puke. Because the why is, if they do something, it'll look like we made them do it. Here's what he said. The worst, he misspelled worst. He should have been worst with the T. He put it with an E, and that's fine. Everybody makes grammatical mistakes every time. You'd think he'd proofread, but that's beside the point. No wonder we get such terribly written laws, but that's okay. I'm sure Jim meant to put worst. The worst thing we could do is offer up a knee-jerk reaction just to try to appease some disingenuous, intellectually dishonest, narcissistic ass that regurgitates the same thing on a daily basis on the radio. He knows there's a problem. He knows we're right. He knows it exists. The Republicans know it exists, but they're not going to give it to you because they won't give Rob Kendall a win. This is what sick puppies we have running this state. And what do, Casey? All I do is pay my taxes and show up to work. And you have a state lawmaker crapping on some guy's profession for being a law-abiding citizen.
And it's not a knee-jerk reaction when we've known about it for a while, that it's been coming. Like you said, more than a year now, we've known that this is ahead.
Absolutely. But you know what? I bet there is one person on this earth who has never been called a disingenuous, intellectually dishonest, narcissistic ass, and that is Kurt Darling, and the news is next.
It's 93 WIBC.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started on treatment. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
The new year is here. Time for a change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand IT field with My Computer Career. In just months, already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus, and financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
It's Jesse Kelly. Why do you think so many countries have huge gold reserves? Gold lasts. The value of gold lasts. How many times have I told you, buy things you can touch and feel because you know the value lasts. There's nothing like precious metals, nothing out there like it. I buy all my gold from Oxford Gold Group. 833-974-1300. They'll deliver it to your front door. Oxford Gold Group.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
So who will get the gavel? It's cloudy with some rain on radar, 661 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. The House needs a speaker, and right now there is no speaker as Republicans try to figure that out with the new Congress starting its term today. Some infighting among the GOP over who should get the gavel. Congressman Dan Mauser of Pennsylvania hopes differences can be put aside.
And I hope my colleagues, who I respect, come to terms with that and realize that we need to move forward, and they accomplished a lot.
Right now, House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy is the frontrunner for Speaker, but he may not have enough support from his own caucus in order to get the votes needed to be Speaker. A Buffalo Bills player still fighting for his life in a Cincinnati hospital after collapsing during Monday Night Football.
This was 5 minutes into the first quarter of the game. Damar Hamlin was playing defense for the Buffalo Bills and made what looked to be a routine tackle on the Bengals receiver. This wasn't one of those violent, vicious collisions. Hamlin popped right back up, but a moment later, he bobbled and then fell straight backwards. Medical personnel rushed onto the field and performed CPR. An ambulance came onto the field a few minutes later and eventually rushed the 24-year-old to the UC Medical Center.
Fox's Garrett Tenney reporting Hamlin is critical after suffering cardiac arrest. It's not clear when or if the game will continue. And now taking a look at the stocks. We are up at the opening bell. The Dow is up 147 points to 33,432. The Nasdaq up 106 to 11,128, and the S&P 500 up 25.5 to 3,886. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Is your home really ready for the holiday season? As you're putting up your Christmas decorations this year, pay attention to your home siding. There are lots of new vibrant siding colors out there, and new siding can give your home a much-needed facelift. Moss Roofing offers James Hardie siding that comes with a 15-year warranty. It's low maintenance, and it will give your home the durability it deserves this winter and many winters to come. Not only will you get great curb appeal from James Hardie siding, you won't have to think about the siding on your home for a long, long time. And that's a pretty great gift for the holiday season. Moss Roofing is a family-owned and operated business with over 25 years of serving Central Indiana. Moss Roofing experts offer residential and commercial roofing repairs and replacements, gutters, and insulation services. Call Moss Roofing today. 317-527-4393. 317-527-4393. Or visit mossroofing.com. That's M-O-S-S. mossroofing.com. mossroofing.com.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, above your eyes, below your eyes, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor, you've visited urgent care over and over again, and it's always the same thing. I know. Let's try antibiotics and nasal sprays. But the sinus infections keep coming back. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Indianapolis Sinus Center called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your sinus infections anymore. Set an appointment today with Indianapolis Sinus Center and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 317-528-9650. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Only $49.99 guaranteed. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight and let Mark Patrick hypnosis destroy your unwanted cravings. Seminars January 19th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss 5:30 p.m., stop smoking 8 p.m. Or January 21st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop smoking 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Wants to return those things I bought.
Yeah! Right out of the gate.
She can keep them just the same.
9:34. This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Let's take a look at some trending stories.
Who else is doing Herman's Hermits as bumper music?
No one.
I was about to say, since Rob is back, I think we should play Herman's Hermits all day.
I think you should rethink that, Kevin. Rethink that. Come back with a different answer, okay?
I don't know. We need to celebrate.
We are glad that he's back from his month-long vacation. Hey, did you see how Anderson Cooper was more sober this year during New Year's Eve than years past?
No, I watched nothing with New Year's Eve.
Okay, so CNN said no drinking on camera this year among the New Year's Eve party hosts. Yeah. And Anderson Cooper is trending because his security team barged right through a Newsmax live shot on New Year's Eve, pushing people out of the way. Big man coming through. Also trending this morning, Jeremy Renner. He had surgery after suffering a blunt chest trauma, a run-in with a snowblower.
Yeah, this is why I don't use any heavy machinery of any sort. And I openly admit, you may say it makes me less of a man or a wimp or whatever. If it's heavy, if it could run me over, if it could do any damage to me of any sort, I have someone else do it.
Also trending is Jim Harbaugh. He said he will be back enthusiastically coaching the Wolverines in 23. However, there is a lot of speculation again that he will return to the NFL. Michigan has lost 6 of their last bowl games that they've made appearances in.
Why would anyone want to coach the Colts?
Well, you know what? I was wondering, do you think Jim Harbaugh would entertain that?
Well, but why? I mean, even if Jim Harbaugh cannot need money, right? He makes $1 gajillion at Michigan, which is his alma mater. Why would you? This franchise, unless they had the greatest quarterback of all time, and then for very briefly, a guy who looked like he was going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, has been total losers. I mean, they from 1984 until Jim Harbaugh had that one good year in 95, they were basically complete zeros. They were then basically complete zeros until Manning got here. They were good with Manning. The 1 year Manning wasn't here, they were awful. They were good the first 3 years of Andrew Luck. And then, I mean, Jim Irsay, and look, any billionaire who was handed a team by his dad. Let's get that out there. Jim Irsay was part of the reason the Colts are run the way they are is because Jim Irsay didn't earn this team.
He didn't have to work for it.
He was handed this team. You know who earned the team? The Walton family just bought the Denver Broncos. That coach was there about 8 seconds, and they threw him out the door. Why? Because the Walton family, now I get that the Walton who owns it now was not Sam Walton, but he grew up in a family, no one had to make money. Jim Irsay never made anything. It was handed to him. And that dude not only was handed a football team that's worth $1 billion by its name alone, he was handed, through the morons that run the Indiana General Assembly, a free stadium in which poor and middle-class people like us pay for his stadium. People go, well, Jim Irsay will spare no expense. It's not his money. Of course he'll spare no expense. This money was handed to him. This team was handed to him. It's not his money. Well, he'll get whatever coach he needs to. It's not his money.
Yeah. Well, it could be possible that somebody like Jim Harbaugh would reinvigorate the team.
No way. City. There's no way Jim Harbaugh is I'm not saying he wouldn't take another NFL job.
Good for them.
He would not take the Indianapolis Colts job, nor would anyone with any amount of common sense, because you have to work for Jim Irsay.
It is 9:38. It is the Kendall and Casey show on 93 WIBC. And Pope Francis will reside over the funeral of Pope Emeritus Benedict, who died Saturday at the age of 95. It's going to be an unprecedented occasion for a current pope to celebrate the funeral of a former pope.
Okay, so I have a question for you and Kevin, because you are our resident Catholic experts on this show.
I don't know about that.
Because there has never been in our lifetime, and it's been, in fact, I think it's been 600 years since a living pope oversaw a funeral of a pope.
Yes.
Right? There has not been 2 living popes at the same time.
Correct.
You have to go back 600 years.
No other pope took the title of Pope Emeritus and then went on to reside in the Vatican like Benedict.
Right. So my question to both of you is, where do we put the pope funeral on the scale of importance? Like, is a pope funeral, because there's only been one in my lifetime.
Yeah. And the one
that was John Paul.
And,
John Paul.
And that one that you're talking about was huge. It was the single largest gathering of heads of state outside the United Nations. It had over 2 billion people watch it on TV. So John Paul's funeral was a tremendous event.
But my question was, it's like with presidents. The more beloved the president, the more beloved you think like the funeral would be. Not to in any way demean Gerald Ford's contribution to the country, but let's face it, Ronald Reagan in the annals of history was a far more consequential president and more beloved by many people than Gerald Ford, who is a temporary, essentially appointed president. So the Ronald Reagan funeral was a bigger deal than Gerald Ford's funeral. Was because John Paul was such an influential and consequential pope, especially as it relates to the fall of communism. Was that a huge deal because it was John Paul, or will this pope's funeral, who, let's face it, and again, you guys are the residential Catholic experts here, he didn't appear to be very well liked, even within large swaths of the is that even a word? Large swaths of the Catholic Church.
Well,
so will his funeral be on par with that? And where does the Pope funeral rank in terms of, if we consistently had Pope funerals, is it a bigger deal than a presidential funeral?
I do think it's a bigger deal than a presidential funeral.
Is it?
I think so.
Yeah, I guess it affects everyone around the world.
Well, that's a
all
good
the
point, right?
Catholics.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, the Roman Catholic Church has 1.3 billion members worldwide. So when you also think of religion is much more deeper ingrained in people than politics. Right. Politicians come and go.
Right.
A pope is there longer.
But
and people's religion means more to them, to most people, with the exception of you, Rob Kendall, than politics does.
Oh, I don't think anybody's going to question where religion ranks with me. My point is, though, for a pope, and look, we've talked before about my opinion on the pope and the idea that we lift up a single person who walks this earth to be greater than other people, and my opinion on that, and that we don't need to get into that right now. But this pope that we're talking about, who has passed away, was a shorter-termed pope.
Right.
What, 10 years, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
Roughly 10 years. And much of his time...
Since what, 05? Yeah.
Dealt with scandal and the alleged covering up of scandal.
Right.
And his unwillingness to address scandal. It's not like, again, when you look at a John Paul and go, oh my gosh, this guy was, a staunch fighter on the core issue of the day. He was an incredible leader. He teamed with presidents. He teamed with world leaders to stay about communism. So are we anticipating anything on the scale of John Paul?
I don't think it'll be as big. However, they did have over 40,000 people file by his body just yesterday. So there are still hundreds, thousands of people lining up to see him, to pay their respects.
Is there anything or anyone, is there anything in the world you would stand in let's say you were at the end of a 40,000 person line. Is there anything you would say, I will stand in a 40,000 person line to do?
I don't know. I mean, I've been to the Vatican, and there's a lot of long lines there for anything.
Like on a Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, a lot.
Really?
Like I said,
if you went on a random Wednesday and you said, I want here to tour the Vatican, there's a big line to do that?
Yeah. Oh,
really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Every day.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter.
I didn't have to wait too long.
You went?
Yeah. I don't remember what day of the week it was, and obviously there wasn't a death of the Pope that occurred.
Do you have to buy a ticket? Do you just show up and say, I'm here to tour the Vatican?
Yeah, you have to buy a ticket, and you can go in and see the Sistine Chapel, and you're not allowed to take pictures of that.
You're not allowed to take pictures of it?
No, you're not supposed to.
Yeah,
Why?
I got in trouble for taking a picture.
Why?
To preserve the art.
What, is art now affected by the shutter of a camera?
Supposedly. And I have rosaries that have been blessed by Benedict. That's something that you can do, is you can have him bless certain things.
What do you ship it in and he just spends a day blessing things and then he ships it back to you?
Well, I bought the rosary beads there at the Vatican.
Oh, at the gift shop.
Yeah, it was. It was like at the gift shop.
You pay a premium for the blessed?
Probably. And then you leave it, and then he blesses them, and then they're delivered to your hotel later.
How do you know he actually did it?
I'm trusting that he actually did. I mean, I didn't witness it.
You know what this has? This has, in sports card collecting, there's these things called jersey cards, which they kind of lead people to believe are jerseys worn by
the
players,
to collect those.
The players themselves. And now the way they've worded the cards, it certainly doesn't seem like in many of these cards the player has worn the jersey in a game and there's no proof the person actually wore the jersey.
Yeah, I always wondered about that.
Can he send an assistant to do? I mean, how many things could he bless in a day?
Well, I mean, how long does it take to do the sign of the cross over a rosary and then next?
Yeah, I imagine it'd be pretty easy.
you know.
One of these days, we're going to have a whole show where you just explain Catholicism to me.
I've got a couple blessed rosaries myself. I
Do
can
you?
bring some in.
Are they from John Paul or are they from Benedict?
From John Paul.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's something you can do. But I think to your question that Pope's funeral is probably weights more than a politician's funeral. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we offended half the audience here, so
I hope
good
not.
job.
It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel show, we're going to go off the rails with a vacationing Rob Kendall. That starts at 3 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
The new year's upon us, which means fresh beginnings. So what better way to kick off 2023 than with a smarter, lasting clean for your home? Bring that new beginning to your home rugs, hardwoods, tiles, and have them looking their best all year long. Zero Res uses their unique cleaning technology to perfectly clean your carpets, tiles, hardwood floors, and more. Their ZR water is the real thing, and it's patented because it cleans your carpets and floors without soapy residue. Soapy residues means things get dirtier quicker, and ZR water prevents that from happening. The team of knowledgeable technicians at Zero Res will always walk through the entire carpet cleaning process with you and make sure you're completely satisfied before they leave. So start 2023 off the right way by calling Zero Res. If you call Zero Res today, you get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $139. Or visit ZeroResIndy.com and use promo code ZeroRes1 or call 388-5141 for a smarter, lasting clean. 388-5141 or ZeroResIndy.com.
Hey, Pat Sullivan here, letting you know when you need plumbing help, call who I call Hope Plumbing. Locally owned and proud of their trustworthy, experienced plumbers who are ready to work for you. Hope Plumbing is family and values the importance of keeping you safe. So if you notice a water leak, a clogged drain, or any other plumbing needs, big or small, Hope Plumbing can fix them all. Next time you need a plumber, call Hope Plumbing, 641-HOPE, or visit them online at hopeplumbing.com. Hope Plumbing, specializing in older homes.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Only $49.99 guaranteed. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight and let Mark Patrick Hypnosis destroy your unwanted cravings. Seminars January 19th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss 5:30 p.m., stop smoking 8 p.m. Or January 21st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop smoking 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC.
Hey, it's Rob. After years of struggling with thinning hair, I was ready to grow my hair back. That's why I went to We Grow Hair Indie. Here's Darren Andrews to tell you more.
For over 20 years, we've been restoring hair for men and women with every type of hair loss and every ethnicity. No matter the reason for your hair loss, we're here to help. And our friend Rajiv Ram, 2-time Olympian and tennis professional, can attest to this.
I wanted more hair, and they have the best technology there is for it. We Grow Hair Indie cared about me and did exactly what they said they would. The results have been amazing.
With We Grow Hair Indie's trademarked multi-unit hair grafting, I got more hair with a single procedure. People tell me all the time how great my hair looks, and yours can too. Call now for your free evaluation and grow your hair back. Call 888-724-5129. That's 888-724-5129. Or go to WeGrowHairIndie.com, the gold standard in hair restoration.
The Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show is this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. For hunting, sporting, and personal protection gear, visit the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show.
I pulled into Nazareth, was feeling about half-past dead.
It's time to choose a speaker. The first vote the House will take before new and returning lawmakers are even sworn into office today. So this is set out under the Constitution. The session begins at noon today with all the lawmakers seated on the House floor, members from both parties joining in to vote for who will be Speaker of the House. Good morning. It is 9:49. This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. So even if they vote present, it lowers the overall tally needed to reach a majority. So I'm really curious how many people are going to vote present when they take the vote for Speaker of the House. Kevin McCarthy needs 218 votes to clinch the speakership.
Well, this will be interesting because one of the things that I think frustrates me, or in fact, I know it frustrates me, and I think it frustrates you as well, but I don't want to speak for you. I don't want to mansplain for you, is when conservatives refuse to use the power given to them to influence policy. And it's one of the things that we've talked about with the Republicans here and obviously nationally in the most recent election, where people would go, well, it's Todd Younger, the Democrat. What choice do I have? Mm-hmm. And the difference, the choice that you have is sometimes you have to be willing to suffer a little bit in the short term because otherwise you're never going to fix it. And the reality is if conservatives have sat on the sidelines, Todd Young still would have won. I mean, the guy won almost 60% of the vote. But what sort of message would that have sent if tens of thousands of people in this state either voted for the third party or didn't vote at all? You have to be able to flex your muscle in order to try to get things done. And the thing that happens here, and it happens at the state level, and it happens at the House level, the Senate level, is that conservatives talk a big game, and then they walk up to the line, and then they call in a little ball and say, I'm sorry for having any opinion, and I can't stand the thought of a Democrat, so I'll just vote for whatever terrible Republican is in front of me. And that's why we have a state where we've never had higher taxes than under the current Republican crop. We've never had a bigger budget. We've never had bigger government. As we laid out in the opening couple segments, they have no plans to do anything to help you as a taxpayer this legislative session. Their plans are to grow government, to help leftist organizations and causes. And this is sort of this thing playing out at a national level. The conservatives have the ability to stand up and say, no. We're not doing this. We don't care what bullcrap deal Kevin McCarthy tries to cut with us because we know he won't adhere to it because Republicans never hold up their end of the bargain. We're drawing a line in the sand, and we're saying we'd rather the thing just totally disintegrate because, let's face it, that's what's happening anyway. We'd rather sprint to the disintegration rather than slow walk so we can build it back up again. They have the ability to do that today. I heard Tony coming in and you know, I agree with a lot of what Tony says, but I totally disagree with him on this. He's hitting Matt Gaetz on Matt Gaetz being one of the leaders in opposition, saying, well, you have to have somebody else. No, you don't. You're not obligated to vote for someone just because there's not someone better. You're not obligated to say, well, I will take whatever crap you give me just because there's not somebody better who has a, air quote, viable path. Your vote is earned. We talk about this with our audience all the time, and it should be true with your elected officials. Your vote should be earned. It should not be given. And what a message the Republicans could send today by saying, we are not eating your crap anymore, establishment. We have the authority. We have power. Just like you, we're not doing it. Now, I have no confidence whatsoever that they'll actually do this. I have all the confidence in the world they'll roll over and play dead because that's what conservatives usually do, but they have the ability to do something about it today.
Okay, so it was being reported that he was already moving into the speaker's office yesterday before the vote has even happened. And Getz was one of the people that was saying he wanted Jim Jordan to be the Speaker of the House.
There's a million different people who would be better. And look, the establishment people have already tipped their hand by saying, we won't vote for anybody but McCarthy. So they tried to scare for a while, going, well, you don't want a Democrat in there. Well, one, I don't care because there's not much difference between Kevin McCarthy and a Democrat anyway. But at some point, you have to stand up for yourself. At some point, you have to say, we are done being taken for granted. We are done being an automatic vote, and we are going to fight, and we are going to we came here to play ball, right? And this is their opportunity to do it today.
Okay, so a lot of people, well, he wrote this letter, and it was restoring the people's house and ending business as usual.
Kevin McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy wrote this letter, restoring the people's house and ending business as usual. Business as usual, he's been there for 14 years.
Absolutely.
So if you're talking business as usual, he is the business as usual. And how many deals is he going to have to cut so that he can get to that 218 votes?
And then if he doesn't honor them, then what? Then what? People in government do this all the time. where they'll say, yeah, we'll get the spending cuts if you just give us, the tax increase, and then you don't get the spending cuts. So what? It's the exact thing that happened with amnesty under Reagan in the 1980s, in which Reagan was guaranteed border security, he was guaranteed a wall, he was guaranteed a secure border in exchange for 2 million illegal immigrants getting amnesty. He got the amnesty. The border's still not secure 36, almost 37 years later. This always happens in government. You always get where the people or the policy that grows government get what they want first, and then in return, it is never made whole.
Well, it's not a very good sign for the Republican Party that they're all not on board with the same guy.
Because they're losers. Most of them.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Take a load off Fanny, and you put the load right on me.
Planning for retirement all comes down to what matters most for you. Is it a vacation home? Is it traveling the globe? You could call the team at Howard Bailey Financial to help you plan for your retirement and to help you have a successful and fulfilling retirement. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people, and I'm excited to share that Singer Financial is now Howard Bailey Financial, an Indiana-based retirement planning firm.
The Howard Bailey team possesses credibility at both an ethical and professional standpoint. They will deliver you a customized framework that allows you to create the meaning of retirement. Whatever you visualize retirement to be, let the Howard Bailey team customize a plan specifically for you. If you're ready for your best retirement, come forward and see the Howard Bailey difference.
Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities, LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Every small business owner knows business happens everywhere. The office, the warehouse, or on the road. And no matter where it takes you, there's one solution to help your business thrive. Comcast Business Complete Connectivity. It's the largest, fastest, reliable network with advanced gig speed Wi-Fi and cyber threat protection in one solution. Plus, add Comcast Business Mobile and you can save up to 60% a year on your wireless bill. Get started for just $40 a month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add mobile. And ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card.
Flight 291 is now boarding.
Yep, you're going places. And when you get there, be ready to do business. The complete connectivity solution from the company that powers more small businesses than any other provider. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 2/21/2023. Restrictions apply. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. New 100 megabits per second internet and Comcast Business Security Edge customers only. Equipment taxes and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply. Gig internet required for gig Wi-Fi. Mobile savings compares pricing of top 3 carriers.
Helzberg Diamonds presents The Guy Who Did His Homework. When it came to Jill's engagement ring, Brady knew exactly what to get.
Okay, so I came up with a design and showed it to all of our friends.
She'll love it.
Then he went to Helzberg. Their incredible selection of high-quality, lab-grown, and natural diamonds made creating that special ring easy. Her reaction?
I love it. Can't wait to tell everybody.
Everybody might know about it.
Be like Brady. Create the ring of your dreams at a Helzberg near you or at Helzberg.com. Ask now about special financing offers.
The new year is here. Time for a change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand IT field with My Computer Career. In just months. Already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus. And financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 38,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
What you've heard about probiotics is probably wrong.
I eat yogurt, so I don't need to take a probiotic.
Probiotics? They don't really work. It's time to learn the truth about probiotics and join the Align Healthy Gut Team Up. Align has probiotics to naturally help relieve occasional bloating, gas, and abdominal discomfort. Try Align probiotics for a month and see how great a healthy gut can feel. Get $2 off your first month of Align at AlignProbiotics.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the outlook of when it comes to the spring-like weather going away, plus what to expect from a big sentencing hearing in Muncie this afternoon, and why a convicted felon is going back to prison. All that and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Out with the old. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The last Congress is about to be gavelled out of business. Then in 2 hours, the new one takes over with Republicans in charge of the House.
Kevin McCarthy will be the next Speaker of the House, and we're going to move forward collectively as a Republican conference to help right the ship, get this country back on track.
But Congressman-elect Derek Van Orden may be wrong.
McCarthy needs 218 votes. With a slim 222 majority, he can only afford to lose 4 Republicans. Right now, there are at least 5 Republicans who openly oppose his bid because they don't think he's conservative enough, and there are about 9 more ready to join that opposition.
Fox's Aisha Hasni at the Capitol. If no speaker is elected, the House can't do anything, not even swear in members. An NFL player remains in critical condition in a medically induced coma. Damar Hamlin, the morning after the Buffalo Bills suffered a cardiac arrest on Monday Night Football against the Bengals in Cincinnati.
This collision wasn't one that was particularly violent or vicious. It was a pretty routine tackle, but you could tell right away something was wrong after Hamlin stood up and started to wobble and then fell straight backwards. Medical personnel rushed onto the field and performed CPR for 9 minutes while using a defibrillator. They were able to restore his heartbeat, and an ambulance on the field rushed the 24-year-old and his mother, who was at the game, to UC Medical Center.
Fox's Garrett Cheney this afternoon. The man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students is due in court, expected to agree to go to Idaho to face charges.
This is the first time we're going to see Brian Koberger walk into that courthouse right behind me since the murders happened in Moscow, Idaho, back in November. Investigators tell us they have a strong case against Koberger and believe he's the killer, but Koberger's defense attorney Bill says that his client is looking forward to being exonerated.
Fox's Alexis McAdams in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
You could see some storms. It's cloudy now, some showers sticking around on radar, 60 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. It's not a huge threat, but it's a small chance for strong storms later today.
Mainly over the Wabash Valley and parts of south central Indiana, where we could see a couple strong, maybe even a severe thunderstorm with damaging winds and large hail.
Mike Kosh with the National Weather Service. He says after the rain moves out by tomorrow, temperatures will finally get back to normal for this time of year, around the mid-30s by late Thursday. Happening this afternoon, sentencing for a handful of former Muncie city leaders found guilty of corruption. Former Mayor Dennis Tyler is among a group of people charged with bribery and conspiracy in awarding contracts to certain companies and getting kickbacks between 2015 and 2018. Not only do Lafayette police not have a suspect, but they're finding it tough to narrow down the victim's info. Donnie Burgess explains.
The victim of a New Year's Day homicide in Lafayette has been ID'd as Anthony Holdbrook. He was shot and killed on North 7th Street just before midnight. The Tippecanoe County Coroner's Office released Holdbrook's name, but not his age. Police say they have multiple birth dates for him. If you know anything, call Lafayette Police. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Gas prices back up to $3.08 on average in Indiana today, says Gas Buddy. And a man in Indianapolis arrested for firing a gun into the air over the New Year's holiday. Javion Williams is said to have rang in the new year by firing his gun into the air near a downtown apartment complex.
In that particular community, there are a lot of children that live within that apartment complex. And what we don't want to have happen is for a celebration to turn into a tragedy.
IMPD officer Elizabeth Flatter on Wish TV. Williams, who was on parole, was arrested and taken back to prison along with additional charges. The Indianapolis Colts expressing support for Damar Hamlin, the Buffalo Bills player who collapsed during their Monday night game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Hamlin is still critical at a hospital after going into cardiac arrest. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Is your home really ready for the holiday season? As you're putting up your Christmas decorations this year, pay attention to your home siding. There are lots of new vibrant siding colors out there, and new siding can give your home a much-needed facelift. Moss Roofing offers James Hardy siding that comes with a 15-year warranty. It's low maintenance, and it will give your home the durability it deserves this winter and many winters to come. Not only will you get great curb appeal from James Hardy siding, you won't have to think about the siding on your home for a long time. And that's a pretty great gift for the holiday season. Moss Roofing is a family-owned and operated business with over 25 years of serving Central Indiana. Moss Roofing experts offer residential and commercial roofing repairs and replacements, gutters, and insulation services. Call Moss Roofing today. 317-527-4393. 317-527-4393. Or visit mossroofing.com. That's MOSS. mossroofing.com. mossroofing.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. It is 6 minutes after 10, and you're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Happy New Year. So Donald Trump declared on Sunday, it wasn't my fault. He said it wasn't his fault that Republicans underperformed in the midterms. He blamed the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade and also the GOP's position on abortion. He wrote this on the Truth social platform, and he also decided to throw in some criticism of Mitch McConnell in the same post. And I recently read that Mitch McConnell's going to have Joe Biden down to Kentucky to celebrate the $1.7 trillion omnibus bill.
Say that again slowly so everybody can make sure they heard you.
Mitch McConnell is to host Joe Biden in Kentucky for, quote, event celebrating the president's economic plan.
So,
yikes.
Remember, when we tell you there is no difference between these two parties, the leader of the Republican Party in the Senate, who the Republican senators just reelected as their leader despite epic failure during the midterm, he's proud. He said that at the time. He's proud. He's proud of all the money going to Ukraine that's totally unaccountable. He's proud of all the wasteful spending. He's proud of all the growth of government. This is, like I said, other than a select few Republicans, which we're about to talk about one, I've completely checked out on 99.5% of these people because there is no difference. They offer nothing. They have no plan to save this country, and I'm out. Now,
he said he was proud of it.
Sure,
he's proud of it.
Absolutely. There is, and he is Todd Young's adult supervision, right? Todd Young wants to be Mitch McConnell when he grows up. Daddy, when I grow up, I hope I can spend money just like you. That's probably what Todd Young says every day when Mitch McConnell holds his hand as he walks into the U.S. Senate.
McConnell said, I'm pretty proud of the fact that with a Democratic president, Democratic House, and Democratic Senate, we were able to achieve through the omnibus spending bill essentially all of our priorities.
Exactly. The Republicans, the Democrats, the Congress. It's the parties. The parties as a collective, their priority is not you. Their priority is them. And by them, I mean hanging onto their own power, the donors, and the lobbyists. That's who they care about because the donors and lobbyists make sure that they stay in power. Now, here is what Trump said, and I think this is so fascinating because keep in mind, life is the platform of the Republican Party, of which Donald Trump is still the de facto head until you are beaten in an election. By election, I mean your primary, you decide not to run again or whatever. You are the de facto head of your party. Whoever was just the most recent presidential nominee until there's somebody else is the de facto head of the party. It wasn't, and by the way, we don't, for those of you who have missed out, we don't do The Voice anymore. Trump has not earned The Voice anymore. We don't do Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You anymore. And for those of you on YouTube, you can see I'm sporting this fancy new Ron DeSantis hoodie that I got for Christmas.
Christmas gift.
We have banned The Voice. We've banned any sort of praise for Trump whatsoever. It wasn't my fault that the Republicans didn't live up to the expectations in the midterms. I was 233 and 20. He still seems to think endorsing Jim Banks or Mike Pence's loser brother counts as a win, but whatever. It was the abortion issue, poorly handled by many Republicans, especially those that firmly insisted on no exceptions, even in the case of rape, incest, or life of the mother, that lost large numbers of voters. Also, the people that pushed so hard for decades against abortion got their wish from the U.S. Supreme Court, just plain disappeared, not to be seen again, plus Mitch McConnell's stupid $!S, or a $, what is that? Apostrophe S. I don't know what that means. Stupid spending, maybe. I don't know. Okay, so we'll give him the last one. Mitch McConnell is a huge part of the problem. Absolutely 100%. But the rest of this is just complete garbage. There is not a single state in the union that I'm aware of that says if the mother is going to die, they can't have an abortion. Indiana has one of the best abortion laws in the entire nation now, and there is clearly exception for the life of the mother.
I believe that all governors as well in red states that were up for re-election won.
And look at here in Indiana. They don't deserve it based on how they abuse the taxpayers, but the Republicans won everything. It wasn't even close. You couldn't get any worse than the two top of the ticket candidates that the Republicans had, which, by the way, speaking of hello, Diego, Happy New Year. Has anybody figured out how Diego Morales legally cast a vote in a county different from where he took his homestead credit? Are you Democrats going to get off your asses, or libertarians at any point, and file something against this guy so we determine that? Or are we just going to let him waltz right into office with no questions being asked on that? That doesn't matter, though. The point is, this is why Trump cannot be the face of this party. He cannot be the nominee. Endorsing Jim Banks and Mike Pence's loser brother is not a win. Anybody could have won that race. In the races that mattered, you lost, and you lost big time. And even in the ones you won, you almost lost where everyone else won overwhelmingly. See Ohio.
Well, what else would you expect Trump to say? I mean, Trump could be standing in the kitchen with icing and cake crumbs on his shirt, look you in the eye and say, the cake wanted to be eaten.
Yeah.
It's never his fault. He would tell you that he was the foremost cake expert in the world and verify that the baked good made him do it. And then he would give you a review on how the cake he makes is better than any other cake on earth.
And if standing for life is the reason we lose elections, and what was one of the last things I did before I left for Christmas break, Casey?
Well, you told us how you're going to be a dad.
And what did I say?
You shared your reasons of why you told us that.
Yeah, and I said, if protecting life meant we lost every single election from a county commissioner all the way up to President of the United States, then it's totally worth it. Because that has been an anchor and a platform of the Republican Party. And the one redeeming thing about this party that's still left is that they stand for life. And this guy, once again, takes a giant crap all over everything that is good and decent, including the one good and decent thing remaining inside the Republican Party, which is that it is the party of life. If you lost every single election, but you were able to protect life, it is totally 100% worth it. And he's trying to take that away from him. It was bad candidates and no messaging. It had nothing to do with abortion. The Republican Party, including most of the candidates you endorsed in the swing races, didn't stand for anything. There was no unified message from this party. Elect us and we will. And ultimately, the voters are proven right, because what's the first thing Mitch McConnell and Todd Young did after the election?
Sign the omnibus bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why you don't win, because you don't separate yourself. There is no difference. And let's face it, when it came to spending money, Trump, no one spent more than you. People are sick of you. They don't like you. They don't want you around anymore. Go away.
Well, you know who is going away today? Beside Anna Kinzinger, it's Liz Cheney. She's going to vacate her seat today, and she's not doing it empty-handed, though. Boy, oh boy, did this woman make a whole lot of money.
That's good stuff.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's 13 minutes after 10. So Cheney may have lost her Republican seat by nearly 40 points in August, but she is leaving Congress with a much bigger wallet. Listen to this.
How much, Casey?
She's gone from $7 million when she first took office in 2017.
That was her net worth. Yes.
To nearly $44 million in 2020.
So that is, let's see, I'm a product of the public school system, so bear with me here. And this was before those public schools were super woke.
Are you doing math?
I'm not as nearly as educated as today's kids. That's she has more than her wealth has increased more than 6 times since she has been in Congress for 6 years, making $174,000 ish a year. So Casey, let me ask you a question, because you're the fair one of our team.
Yeah.
How does a person making $174,000 a year increase their wealth 6 times in 6 years?
Those are some really smart investments, aren't they?
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Here's the other question. How did Liz Cheney, with no applicable skill set whatsoever, and spent most of her life cheerleading her daddy and in government jobs or campaign jobs, which also don't pay, I mean, they pay pretty decent, but not anything that should make you a millionaire. How did she acquire a net worth of $7 million to begin with?
Family trust.
This is why people, in some cases, up to and literally probably kill to get into these jobs. Because with no applicable talent, with the IQ of a potted plant, no matter who you are or how much creativity you lack or how you could never succeed in the real world, you can increase your net worth 6 times. You can add $37 million to your net worth in 6 years, making $174,000 a year.
Yeah, well, she has said that her future plans, she doesn't know quite what she's going to do. She hasn't been clear about it, but she's floated the idea of running for president. And guess what? Now she's got the money to do it.
This is the system we've created. This is why people go into Washington. This is why
why they never want to leave.
You're right, and this is why they don't work for you, because there's too much money in not working for you. Casey.
Yes.
When we come back.
Yes.
A list came out.
Oh, you were going to do that bogus thing?
And I thought you should totally be in on this, and I think Kevin should get on this. Rolling Stone has released what it is calling the top 200 singers of all time. And I want to walk through 1 through 20 because this list is so highly egregious.
Yes, it is.
I feel like we're going to need some audience participation on this.
All right, that's coming up from 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
I have argued on television and in other places that until we put an end to illegal immigration, there should be no other conversations that take place. You can't be offering up amnesty until you start with, we don't allow illegal immigration in the United States. Everything else is a non-starter.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Imagine if you could get a 35% bonus when you invest your money. That's right. If you invest $100,000, you get a $35,000 bonus. If you invest $200,000, you get a $70,000 bonus. And if it sounds too good to be true, it's not. And guess what? You'll sleep well at night knowing your money is protected by one of the highest rated insurance companies in the world. It's Terry Stacy, and to learn more about this 35% bonus, call Bill Demery, my retirement guy, at 317-972-9172. A little diversification outside of the stock market could be a really good thing right about now. But this 35% bonus won't last forever. So call 317-972-9172. 317-972-9172.
Buy 4 tires and get up to $200 in savings after rebate at Bell Tire's year-end sale. Or get even more in Bell Tire gift cards. December 26th through January 7th. Plus, get tires as low as $49 after rebate. Get up to $200 in savings. Or get even more in gift cards. December 26th through January 7th. Get up to $200 in savings. And choose the lowest tire price, period, at Bell Tire. 100 years of getting folks safely back on the road fast and affordably. See store or belltire.com for details. Restrictions apply.
Fellas, need an annual health exam for work or just want to start the year prioritizing your health? We recommend Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They check all your levels, not just your testosterone. It's typically completely covered by most health insurance, and it's less than $100 for full labs and an office visit. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy. Go to lowtcenter.com right now to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC. You're listening to Rob Kendall.
He's a criminal, that's who he is. A vigilante. Menace.
And Casey Daniels.
Wow, she's an angel.
On 93 WIBC.
Oh, Kevin. You're playing this because you're hoping it's on the Rolling Stone list.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I said last night, he's going to put Eddie Vedder on this list.
He is. The Rolling Stone list of the 200 greatest singers of all time. We're going to get to that in just a second. Let me review some trending stories with you right now. In case you were wondering, Joe Biden spent 146 days on vacation last year. That was 40% of the year. Also trending, Michael Jordan. Why? Because it's 2023. Many people are calling this the Jordan year.
Oh.
And also trending, King Charles' ceremony could be invalidated due to his adultery. That's what some experts are claiming, and they're saying that it could be a constitutional crisis.
Well, that'd be a shame.
He's supposed to have his coronation on May 6th, but due to his indiscretions while he was married to Princess Diana, some are saying that it's not going to happen.
That'd be awful.
Yeah, I know you're really
be
broken
terrible.
up about it. Okay, let's get to this Rolling Stone list. So this is a new list. It was compiled by their staff and key contributors. It encompasses 100 years of pop music as an ongoing global conversation. Almost all the artists on the list had significant careers as crossover stars making popular music for the masses. They say this is the greatest singers list, not the greatest voices list.
Yeah, and this is the thing Rolling Stone does. They try to be too cute by half, and let's show you how sophisticated we are and how much more we know about society than you. So they said in all cases, what mattered most to us was originality, influence, the depth of an artist's catalog, and the breadth of their musical legacy. Now, before we get to this list, let me say, I am completely out on any list that does not have Dennis DeYoung as one of the 20 greatest singers of all time.
Was he on the list at all?
I don't know. I got so angry at the 20 that I had to stop. I was going to work my way backwards.
Well, did they throw Fogelberg in there?
Well, you can make a strong case, too. I mean, I challenge anyone to find me better singing than Dan Fogelberg's leader of the band, period.
I was surprised that Michael Jackson wasn't on this list, and many people online were railing that Celine Dion is not on the list.
All right, so let's work through the 20, right? Because some of these you'd say, okay, I get it, no problemo. Marvin Gaye was number 20. I don't think anybody's got any problem with that, right?
No, we're good with that.
Frank Sinatra, 19th.
Seems like it should be a little higher,
Well,
but
I
still
agree.
okay.
Yeah.
It's and I would guess these lists probably tend to sway more towards more current artists, the more current you are, because chances are you've got younger people making the list.
Oh, and they're trying to sell magazines.
Yeah, there you go.
But,
Celia Cruz. I didn't know who this person was.
I never heard of her
Oh,
either.
I feel so much better because you ran music stations.
I don't know her either.
Perfect. 17th, Elvis.
Okay. I'm out on this. When we get
Too high.
When we get through 16 through number 1 and you tell me Elvis is 17, no way. No way. He's way too low on this list.
Casey did something, made a huge mistake earlier. She was trying to think of a song by Elvis, and she kept telling us ask us what the name of the song was, and I kept giving her wrong Elvis titles. So then she started playing the song, and now it's in your head.
Yeah, it got stuck in my head. It was from that 1968 comeback that he did.
Yes.
And it was featured in the Elvis movie.
Yeah, follow that, and this is not open for discussion in any shape, form, or fashion. Follow That Dream is the greatest Elvis song. And
That's not what it's called, though.
I realize that. There's another Elvis song called Follow That Dream, which is the greatest Elvis song.
But I was talking about If I Can Dream.
Yeah, you're entitled to like whatever bad Elvis song you want. I'm just telling you, Follow That Dream is the greatest Elvis song, period.
But 17 on this list, no way. They have them way too low.
Prince is 16. Now, here's where it just gets stupid. Bob Dylan is number 15. Now, you guys know Bob Dylan is on my Mount Rushmore. I love Bob Dylan, but nobody, even the biggest of Bob Dylan fans, has ever at any point gone,
that guy can sing.
What an intriguing voice. I wouldn't even say, because they were trying to say, it wasn't just who was the best singer. There's nothing about Bob Dylan's voice that is remotely intriguing whatsoever.
Well, their angle here is that he's so bad, he's good. Because it's talking about how he owned his ugly duckling delivery. That's according to the article.
Okay, there is some relevance to saying this person's voice fits what they're singing, right? Like I heard Bruce Springsteen talk about his character songs for years, where I take the voice of the character that I am writing about. I get that, but it doesn't put you on the list just because. And Bob doesn't even do that.
But according to what he
doesn't even character sing.
He is original. He does have influence. He does have a nice deep catalog and his musical legacy.
Great, phenomenal songwriter.
His voice is memorable.
It's awful. And I'm a huge fan. Freddie Mercury, 14th. I was very surprised. That was not a top. Yeah, it should have been a top 10, right?
Way too low.
Patsy Cline, 13. Now, here's another one. John Lennon.
Yeah, so the thing about the Beatles, I think they all sounded great together, but on their own, I mean, I don't think his voice was that special.
Yeah, what song in the history of ever did John Lennon sing and you would say, wow, what a compelling voice on Glass Onion, number 9?
I would almost argue that Paul McCartney has better vocals than John Lennon.
Yeah, I would even agree with that.
But we have established the problem with McCartney is every McCartney song is When I'm 64, yes. Yeah. 11th, Little Richard. 10th.
Wait a minute. 11th. You're telling me Little Richard is higher than Elvis Presley?
I
list.
didn't make the list. You don't have to get aggressive with me.
Good golly, Miss Molly, ahead of any John Lennon song.
10th, Al Green. 9th, Otis Redding. 8th, Beyonce. That is wholly ridiculous.
I don't agree with that at all.
Stevie Wonder at 7. Ray Charles at 6. Mariah Carey. I wouldn't put her in the top 200 just because of that stupid Christmas song. At 5, Billie Holiday at 4. Now, I will say the top 3
pretty good.
Are pretty hard to argue with. Sam Cooke at 3. We all know how much I love Sam Cooke. Whitney Houston at 2, and then Aretha Franklin at 1.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a strong top 3.
The top 3 is pretty solid, but the rest of that, for the most part, either the order or the omissions. How is Dennis DeYoung? I challenge anyone to I'll put Best of Times up against any song by anybody on this list.
The only problem I have with Whitney Houston is she's got 2 big songs. I Want to Dance with Somebody and I Will Always Love You. She didn't even write I Will Always Love You. So I don't know. I think, yes, she can sing like nobody's business. But to be number 2 on this list, I don't know. I think David Ruffin needs to be higher. Adele needed to be higher. And Dusty Springfield should have been higher.
Okay,
go ahead and tell me what grunge singer should have been on this list. Go ahead.
Where did Eddie Vedder and Chris Cornell rank on this list?
Well, I would say probably nowhere, but it's Rolling Stone, so they probably had him in 55 to 27 to 55. We're probably just out of reach here, Kevin.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
And you know what? You know what else? They had Lady Gaga on this list, so I'm out.
Yeah, you don't like her. All right.
Nope, she's a fraud.
We would welcome your input at 317-684-8444. 317-684-8444 about the list of Rolling Stone's all-time greatest singers.
All right, you're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. Hoosiers with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. Tony Katz here, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine, utilizing protocols that use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue. You can move again with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. So if you have shoulder pain, hip pain, if you have arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, do not let them operate on you or give you more steroids. Say no to the pain pills. Call QC Kinetics in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. See if their life-changing all-natural treatments can get you living your best life in the new year. I'm telling you, people right here in Indy are raving about these treatments. This is the future of joint pain management, and appointments are available as soon as the next week. Make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. Call QC Kinetics right now in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. It's a totally free consultation. Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Only $49.99. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. This hypnosis is designed to destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars Thursday, January 19th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking 8 p.m. And Saturday, January 21st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Experience the future of connectivity with Spectrum One. You get Spectrum Internet delivering the fastest speeds in the nation for $49.99 a month. Advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced privacy and security, free for 12 months. And a Spectrum mobile line with unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G, free for 12 months. That's Spectrum One. Visit Spectrum.com or your local Spectrum store today. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Will he get the vote? It's cloudy and 61 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. The House will vote to elect a new speaker today under the Republican majority. Current GOP leader Kevin McCarthy faces an uncertain path, though, in his bid to be the next Speaker of the House. It's not clear if McCarthy will lock down enough votes necessary to secure the gavel, as at least 5 conservative Republicans are threatening to vote to deny McCarthy the 218 that he needs to be Speaker. There's a new COVID variant. Fox's Jonathan Siri.
The CDC says a new Omicron subvariant called XBB 1.5 is responsible for more than 40% of active COVID infections in the U.S. While the new strain appears to be more infectious than previous variants, Dr. William Schaffner of Vanderbilt University Medical Center says it does not appear to cause more severe disease. According to Dr. Schaffner, laboratory studies suggest new bivalent booster shots reduce the chances of severe disease, but according to CDC data, few Americans have gotten the updated shots. In Atlanta, Jonathan Siri, Fox News.
I'm Kurt Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Some people got COVID and thought, well, that wasn't such a big deal. But you can get COVID again, and next time it could be worse, especially for those 50 and older, or with a chronic condition like heart disease or diabetes. But with an updated vaccine, you have better protection from COVID's worst outcomes. And that's a big deal. Find updated COVID vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
It's Jesse Kelly. Why do you think so many countries have huge gold reserves? Gold lasts. The value of gold lasts. How many times have I told you, buy things you can touch and feel, because you know the value lasts. There's nothing like precious metals, nothing out there like it. I buy all my gold from Oxford Gold Group. 833-974-1300. They'll deliver it to your front door. Oxford Gold Group.
Living tobacco-free is important to a healthy lifestyle. Make this your opportunity to break free.
Are you ready to quit?
Quit Now Indiana is now offering a new customizable quit plan called Pick Quit.
Pick Quit allows you to choose from a variety of tools that work best for your quit journey.
Pick Quit is a better way to break free from tobacco.
Get the help you need.
No lectures.
No pressure.
Just free help.
Go to quitnowindiana.com today.
Break free from tobacco.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So sorry you have just reached my answering machine.
It is 10:33 with the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. 317-684-8444. That is our phone number. And you were a little disappointed in the voicemails. You were gone for 2 weeks.
Well, yeah. So
we aired a lot of voicemails
I know.
that were directed to you.
I know, I heard, and that was very nice of you. And so I went in today thinking, well, you've been off for a while, and so we probably didn't have many great voicemails. And I was right, but I figured now that we're back in the swing of things, that people will start upping their game. 317-684-8444. So I only have one voicemail. The person wanted to wish us a happy new year. I felt it was a strong way to enter 2023. So let's go.
Kendall and Casey, Rob and Casey. I just wanted to call and say the highlight of my year was the first time I ever call, I get dubbed the smartest man in the room by Rob Kendall. Granted, I was acting like a giant. Can I say on the radio? Well, I guess I'll find out. I mean, come on. I'm now within the ranks of the great Indiana Patriots like Todd Young and Diego Morales. Wait. Yeah, that's probably not a good group to be summoned with. Anyway, hope y'all have a good new year. Have a great year. Another great year listening. Great year broadcasting. You'll still love the show. Y'all have a good one.
That was nice.
Yeah. I just thought, what a great way to our first voicemail of the year. I thought that was a good way to start things off.
All right. Well, if you've got one, we'd love to hear from you. 317-684-8444. Let's talk about this congressman, the first Gen Z congressman, but he's facing a little bit of a housing crunch, right?
So this guy's name is Maxwell Frost, and he did an interview with ABC.
He's representing Central Florida's 10th congressional district.
Yeah, and so keep in mind, this guy makes $174,000 a year, but he tells ABC he's going to probably have to couch surf for a little bit. Listen to why he says he can't find a place to live in Washington, D.C.
What's it going to be like up here? I mean, this is not cheap. Do you have to...
Yeah. I mean, it's not cheap. I'm dealing with it right now, getting denied from apartments, trying to figure out where to live because I have bad credit. Probably just going to have to couch surf for a little bit.
So this guy, okay, there's so much to unpack with this, Casey.
Yeah.
First of all, you're ABC and you have one of the 535 most powerful people in the country. And the best question you've got for him is, hey,
where are you going to live?
Going to be pretty wild trying to place a place to live here in D.C. Some incredible journalism there by ABC. But you have a guy who, again, is one of the 535 most powerful people in the entire country and freely admits his own personal financial choices have been so poor that he can't even secure an apartment.
Yeah. He's got bad credit.
We have elected someone to oversee trillions of dollars of spending and set budgets for our nation whose personal financial behavior is so poor he can't even get approved for an apartment.
Yeah, he said that he filled out the application and the guy told him he'd be fine, but then he got denied and then he lost the apartment and the application fee.
Now, Casey, as someone who has lived in many apartments over the years and I was not making anywhere near $174,000 at the time, do you know how horrific your credit history likely is if at $174,000 a year you can't get approved for an apartment?
Right. Maybe he didn't have proof of his income to show them?
Oh, you're a congressman. Hello, I'm a congressman.
Not yet.
He is.
Yet.
Proof of employment. I mean, they usually ask you for that, right?
Yeah.
So $174,000 divided by 12. That's $14,500 a year. Now, that's gross. Obviously, he will have taxes taken out. But imagine what your track record must be if on your gross pay of $14,500 a year, you can't get approved. These are the people making choices for us, and this is why our country is in the financial position it is in.
He clearly has made some bad decisions in the past or has not kept up on a payment of some sort to get turned down for an apartment.
Why would we elect someone like that? Why would you elect someone who has so little regard for their own money?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think they're going to have for yours?
Right. He's going to keep track of our money.
This is not a liberal or conservative thing. This is a person who, and it's not like, well, it was 20 years ago, and look at the comeback story of this guy, or whatever. That happens all the time. This guy, so he's Gen Z, so that's younger than Kevin,
right?
And Kevin, you're 27. Is
that
right?
I think he's 25, right?
So there's no way he's anywhere remotely removed from whatever horrific choice he made, and clearly he didn't learn any lesson because he got rewarded for it. This is it, folks. This is why guys like this getting elected are why the country's going down the crapper.
He can't read a P&L statement, apparently.
No. You think he's going to read the budget?
He can't balance his own budget.
No, of course not.
Well, he was very honest about when he answered his question.
Well, what's he going to say? I mean, he's not like he's, where are you living? I mean, with
he's
Fred?
on ABC looking for a place to live. He's like, hey, buddy, I'm gonna have to couch surf.
Oh, man.
A lot of them do sleep on couches in their office.
Not because they can't afford an apartment.
Because they've got bad credit and been turned down. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and let's talk about this Section 230. Okay, so 2 years ago, the U.S. Supreme Court didn't hear this case in which the justices were going to weigh in on the scope of Section 230, which is part of the 1996 Communications Decency Act. And pretty much what this Section 230 says is you can either be a publisher or you can be a platform.
Yes.
You need to decide.
It is, you can be a zebra or you can be a horse. You can't be a zebra horse. And for years, the Democrats have allowed companies like Twitter and Facebook to operate getting the best of both worlds, in which they got the protections of being a platform, but they were essentially operating as a publisher, which meant if you're a platform, basically, unless you're threatening to kill someone or enact, damage on town square, you can say what you want. The idea of the law was fine, which was in 1996, which said, look, the internet's new. We don't understand where it's going to go. We don't totally get it. We want to protect free speech. So we're going to say if you are a platform, which at the time it wasn't social media, it was message boards, things of that nature, you can allow these things to be up there and you're not going to be held liable for those things.
Right.
Well, Facebook and Twitter was, Facebook still is in many cases, acting as both. They're getting the liability protection as a platform, but they are censoring content like a publisher. And the Democrats were fine with that as long as the game was totally rigged in their favor.
Right.
Well, now that Elon Musk owns Twitter, the Democrats are suddenly super concerned about platforms
acting as publishers.
Right. And Amy Klobuchar, senator from Minnesota, went on Meet the Press on Sunday and said this.
Can this be amended rather than gotten rid of?
Yes, you can amend it and focus on certain kinds of speech misinformation, disinformation. And all you're saying is, we know people are going to put stuff on your alleged town square, which has become really a communications company. Your network, other news organizations have limits in place and standards. And our argument's going to be, if you start making money off of it, if you amplify it, that's a whole different thing. Your angry emojis and all these things you're doing, it's to make money.
These Democrats, when they had Jack and Zuckerberg and all these people up in front of Congress.
They were fine with them acting as publishers.
When Ted Cruz and those guys Rand Paul were grilling them, not a peep from these people. And now that they don't have the monopoly anymore, now they want to get involved. Now they want to censor free speech. And you better darn believe they'll only want to censor Twitter. That's what she's talking about. She ought to just say Twitter.
Right.
Because that's who she wants.
That's what she means. Yeah. And she's talking about misinformation and, she means any information that isn't with her message, her narrative.
Right. 100%.
Is the opposite.
Yeah. All right. Hammer's out today. So Nigel is going to be here.
Okay.
And, we've got a lot to get to. I've got several questions for Nigel, including I want to talk to him about this golfer. Did you see this story?
I am fascinated by this
guy
story.
who got inadvertently invited to the Masters.
Yes.
I love this.
I love this story, too. All right, it's coming up from 93 WIBC.
Does runaway inflation and reckless spending in Washington have you worried about the security of your hard-earned retirement savings? If so, it's time to call the precious metals experts at Fisher Capital. Fisher Capital specializes in helping investors like you diversify their retirement portfolio and preserve wealth with physical gold and silver. Whether you're looking to acquire coins or bars, open a gold IRA, or just want to learn more about the advantages of owning precious metals, Fisher Capital will equip you with the knowledge to make an informed decision that's right for you and your family. Call Fisher Capital today at 800-376-4333. That's 800-376-4333. Mention WIBC when you call to get a free no-obligation investor kit. 800-376-4333. 800-376-4333. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Don't lose another night's sleep worrying about the security of your retirement savings. Call Fisher Capital. 800-376-4333.
We say Merry Christmas at R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. We recently saved one of Indy's oldest small businesses over $5,000 per month on their group coverage for 10 employees. We are saving early retiring clients 50% when compared to their COBRA coverage. Now they can afford to retire. You've been told the ACA, you know it's still Obamacare, is your only option on individual coverage. If you're sick and you don't have any income, that's true. If you are reasonably healthy and have a livable household income, the ACA is your worst option. You've also been told if enrolled, you must keep your coverage for a year. That is also not true. Don't let the federal government or the big insurance company cronies tell you that you don't have a choice. Call us at 317-435-1718 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-435-1718 or rragency.org. We can help. Give us a call. What do you got to lose? As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Everyone knows that in Indiana, game time.
Here's a deep three. Halliburton
means family time.
He's got family in Kokomo. That might have been from Howard County.
Friday is Lucas Oil Family Night when your Pacers meet the Portland Trailblazers. Every family night ticket includes a Pacers hat, hot dog, chips, and small Pepsi product. Tickets in this promotion start at just $20 at pacers.com/family. Pacers Trailblazers. Family Night, Friday at 7.
Buy 4 tires and get up to $200 in savings after rebate at Bell Tire's year-end sale. Or get even more in Bell Tire gift cards. December 26th through January 7th. Plus, get tires as low as $49 after rebate. Get up to $200 in savings. Or get even more in gift cards. December 26th through January 7th. Get up to $200 in savings. And choose the lowest tire price, period, at Bell Tire. 100 years of getting folks safely back on the road fast and affordably. See store or belltire.com for details. Restrictions apply.
What you've heard about probiotics is probably wrong.
I eat yogurt, so I don't need to take a probiotic.
Probiotics? They don't really work.
It's time to learn the truth about probiotics and join the Align Healthy Gut Team Up. Align has probiotics to naturally help relieve occasional bloating, gas, and abdominal discomfort. Try Align probiotics for a month and see how great a healthy gut can feel. Get $2 off your first month of Align at alignprobiotics.com.
That inflatable reindeer in your yard could be an Easter reindeer, right? And Christmas in July is a thing, so you might as well leave the lights up until then? Whatever excuse you tell yourself, you know it's time to take down those decorations. If taking them down means storing them in your basement or crawl space, you might spend the next 11 months wondering if they'll stay dry enough to use next time. Nobody wants a soggy, moldy reindeer. You owe it to Rudolph to get in touch with Indiana Foundation Service. Indiana Foundation Service will waterproof your basement or crawl space. Waterproofing your basement or crawl space does more than just protect your stored belongings. It also protects the structural integrity of your home and improves the air you breathe. Give new meaning to a happy, healthy new year with a waterproofed basement or crawl space from Indiana Foundation Service. Schedule a free inspection at indianafoundation.com.
Indiana Foundation Service. Reliability from the ground up.
Good morning, you're listening to the Kendall and Casey show on 93 WIBC. It is 10:47, and Nigel's joining us in the studio.
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
So you
Happy New
lost
Year.
a sizable amount of money over the weekend on the Colts.
I mean, like $60.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, in Rob Kendall's world, that's a sign.
Right.
You know how many trips to Applebee's that is?
Rob's been known to place quarter bets on same game parlays.
It'll pay out $7 if it hits.
Yeah, I don't even know what the bets were. It was something stupid like the Colts to cover. The 5.5.
Something stupid.
The under, which didn't hit, obviously. And I was giving Mo Alley Cox one more anytime
that's your
touchdown
guy.
score. He doesn't squad all season long. So I hadn't bet forever.
Now, Nigel,
I don't really think people care about who I bet on and stuff, but it's fun to talk about me losing for sure.
Well, and Nigel does this thing, and it's a fan favorite, and he hasn't done it in a while in our little group chat that Hammer and I have with Nigel, where if he loses a bet by an egregious amount or gets done dirty in some capacity, he will enact what he calls an anger bet. And he will just text us, anger bet coming.
Yeah. So I made a bunch of same game parlay bets on the Green Bay game.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out. It was Green Bay Vikings, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday. Yeah. None of those worked out. I had 4 things happen.
Yeah.
None of those worked out.
Nigel, you should never
nobody
gamble
cares.
when you're angry or inebriated.
Well,
then Nigel would never be able to gamble.
It crossed me off the list then because neither one of those things were in play yesterday.
Why would anybody want to take the Colts job? They're saying Jim Harbaugh. Is there any possible? You're a lifelong Colts fan. You've been with them through thick and thin.
Oh, yeah.
This is one. I mean, even go way back. This is.
Do they not have the components? Because I was told we have the components, the winning components, the offensive line. I think Matt Ryan was sold sort of a bill of goods. God, whenever they get a holding call penalty, I watched that game. I mean, the running back Moss, whoever it is over there, would trounce 20 yards down the field, and then number 72 holding 10 yards.
What about our generational guard? I thought he was supposed
to. Sure. So I don't know. I think there's somebody out there that wants the gig. I mean, Jeff Saturday wants the gig.
Yeah. Nobody good though, right? I mean, why would Harbaugh want to coach the Colts?
Why would he want to coach Michigan at this point?
6 bowl game losses, 6 years in a row.
Yeah, no Big Ten
He'll
teams.
fit right in here.
Right.
One and done in the playoffs.
Right, there you go. We're used to that. Okay, did you hear about this golfer?
The golfer.
The golfer in Georgia. So this is an amateur golfer, and he kind of got a hacker's dream, right? He was invited to the Masters.
So his name is Scott Stallings, and there is a professional golfer named Scott Stallings who qualified for the Masters. And this guy, whose name is also Scott Stallings, has a wife with the same name of the pro golfer's wife, Scott Stallings. Like on paper, these guys
identical
and line up like they're the same person on paper, basically. Similar age, everything. The Masters accidentally sent the pro golfer Scott Stallings invitation
to
the amateur guy, Scott Stallings, and he reached out to the guy on the pro golfer on Instagram or something and said, took a picture of the invite and everything and said, "Hey man, I love golf, but I think this is meant for you, not for me."
Yeah, so he gave it back
I got
to
your
him?
invitation.
I mean, the Masters wouldn't have let the guy play, though, right?
Why not? What great publicity!
This reminds me of what's his name in New York, Santos.
Yeah,
almost. He should have just ran with it. Yeah. No, I'm the guy.
That's what I was thinking. Like, what are they going to
handicap.
do? He should just show up. I mean, what are they going to do? Like eye scan or fingerprint?
Well, I think they might
Here's
know.
my invitation.
They probably, because Scott Stallings is the pro is a decent golfer. He's not like
Casey. That's a good point. What would they do? But you're right. I think there's probably some. It's not like Santa's where no, he's getting sworn in today.
Right.
This is it. You elected who you elected. This is something a little bit different.
You would assume the pro
I think it's
golfer
pretty
Scott
cool.
Stallings at least has one friend that is playing at the Masters that would be like, that is not the right Scott
That's
Stallings.
not the right guy.
But what a great story it would be. I mean, look, the guy would obviously shoot 180, even if a really good amateur golfer. Like if you were a scratch golfer, you would struggle to break 100 at the Masters from the championship tees if they had the course out to play Augusta.
Imagine.
So even if
it'd be a joke for me.
Let's say this guy was a 5 handicap, which is still a really good amateur golfer, you would struggle with the course set up to play at a championship level 150. But what a great story that would be. What great publicity. Guy shoots 180 at the Masters.
I think it's like okay, you know what? Back to Nigel. It's like gambling, right? If there's a misdeal during blackjack, they pay out the table, right? So this is the Masters' fault. They sent out the wrong guy. They should let him play.
And what a story, like Happy Gilmore, you know? This guy shoots 180, 181 and gets a check for $50,000.
Pulls a bum off the street to be his caddy.
They should let the fake Scott be the real Scott's caddy. Right?
Well, the only problem is that would be punishing the real Scott Stallings because those guys are pretty dependent upon their caddies
give some advice.
But and the Masters is always kind of seen as a stuffy, it's a secret society almost type of thing.
Yeah.
What a tremendous goodwill. Even if they let the dude play a practice round or the par 3 tournament or what, you don't even have to let him play the real tournament, but it'd be great.
They still let women join the club? Do they still not let women join that club? Or
no, unfortunately, they started letting women in a couple of years ago.
It's just not too long ago, right? I mean,
Condoleezza Rice is a member there.
Yeah.
That was they stood on that for a long time, and then I think there's a couple people that are women that are members now. People that are women.
There are a couple of
trying not to
women.
talk myself out of a job here.
Okay, so the big game last night, I assume that both of you watched it, the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah, wow. That was rough, man. I mean, the play seemed pretty innocuous, but then after DeMar got back up and then immediately collapsed, the common theme was nobody's seen anything like this before, and certainly in the 50 years or so of professional football, nobody's died. The guy's heart stopped beating,
cardiac
for
arrest.
8 or 9 seconds. I think they had to defib the guy, and I thought it was a great scenery where both teams were on the field, everybody praying, and they did the right thing by canceling the game, postponing the game. I know what's his face, the contrarian that works for Fox Sports, Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
Skip Bayless got raked over the coals because he thought they should have
kept playing. Well, I think that shows you where football is.
I don't think it was the NFL. I think both the coaches got together for both those teams and said, "Hey, this is not. We're postponing this game." I don't know what they're going to do. Skip Bayless is right; it had major playoff implications, but I think they did the right thing, and nobody's seen anything like this ever.
I think 5-10 years ago, they probably would have kept playing.
Maybe
they would have.
Certainly 10 to 20 years ago.
Once he was off the field, they would have. Yeah.
Well, and people were beating him up. You didn't call it fast enough. This should have been called 20 minutes ago. Dude, you don't know what that's like until you're in that situation, and there are all sorts of things you got to account for. There, you should just do this. Well, it's easy when you're just sitting at home. They ultimately made the right choice, but I wasn't beating people up that they were trying to get all their I's dotted and T's crossed, because let's face it, there's a lot of ramifications of every decision. So I thought they got it right. Hey, what's coming up this afternoon?
Guy Relford filling in for Hammer one more day. We're going to do Ask the Gun Guy. Also, Tony Katz is back. It's Tuesdays with Tony.
Thanks, Nigel.
Thanks, guys.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. In the last year, we've seen our competition double, even triple their delivery charges. Thompson Furniture and Mattress still delivers for free within 75 miles of Columbus. White glove delivery and setup from the best team anywhere, and it's all for free. Whether it's your Lazy Boys, Smith Brothers, Tempur-Pedic, outdoor furniture, it doesn't matter. It's delivered free. Guaranteed best price plus free delivery only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Hubler has certified service and maintenance for the life of your vehicle. Get everyday value pricing on service and parts and schedule an appointment with ease at drivehubler.com.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started on treatment. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, above your eyes, below your eyes, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor, you've visited urgent care over and over again, and it's always the same thing. Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and nasal sprays. But the sinus infections keep coming back. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Indianapolis Sinus Center called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your sinus infections anymore. Set an appointment today with Indianapolis Sinus Center and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 317-528-9650. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650.
Well-changing question. Are you keeping as much of your investment gains as possible? High taxes can erode returns quickly, so you need a tax-optimized portfolio. At Creative Planning, our money managers and specialists work together to make sure your portfolio and wealth are managed in a tax-efficient manner. It's what you keep that really matters. Why not give your wealth a second look? Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for plenty of advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and foundation, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the timeline for more rain, possible thunderstorms, and colder temperatures. Plus, why a teenage boy in Anderson was sent to the hospital this week, and a cold case that appears to be getting colder in southern Indiana. All that and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Will House Republicans unite? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is the big question an hour before the new Congress takes over. Most GOP members want Kevin McCarthy to be Speaker, but not all.
They're putting the American people's agenda in jeopardy.
That's Republican Congressman Dan Muser. They have to elect a Speaker first before the House can even swear members in.
Not in a century has a Speaker failed to win a vote on the first tally. But several Republicans from the party's conservative flank are openly opposing House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy, enough to deny him the needed votes with a narrow majority.
On the other side of the aisle,
today also marks the first time in 20 years Nancy Pelosi is not the leader of her party in the House, after Democrats elevated New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries.
Fox's Jared Halpern, NFL player Damar Hamlin remains in critical condition in Cincinnati the morning after going into cardiac arrest on Monday Night Football after the Buffalo Bill tackled a Bengal, got up, and then collapsed. It took CPR and a heart defibrillator to revive Hamlin. His teammates were in tears. Some fans showed up at the hospital in support.
I was kind of just looking at Twitter, looking for updates, saw that people were gathering and felt like the right thing to do, come down and join and just pray and hope for the best, really.
The game was stopped in the first quarter, never resumed. It's unclear if and when they'll play again. About an hour ago at Cape Canaveral in Florida.
5, 4, 3.
That's SpaceX's first launch of the year, sending more than 100 small satellites into orbit, some of them expanding SpaceX's Starlink internet service. In Brazil, Pele will be laid to rest today at a private funeral. After a very public goodbye to the soccer legend, fans had 24 hours to go to a stadium for a public wake for Pele, who died last week at the age of 82. On Wall Street, they're trying to rebound after last year's big selling. The Dow is starting the year up 3 points. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What may come next? Cloudy and 61 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Some of the rain that fell overnight is moving out of the state, but
looks like we could see maybe another quarter to a half an inch, but it's kind of, some areas could see more depending on which areas are under the heavier storm.
Mike Koch with the National Weather Service, who says that with the extra rain, it could come with a chance of severe weather this evening in some places. A teenage boy killed in Indianapolis Monday. Police say the boy died of unintentional gunshot wounds, as they put it. The shooting happened near the I-70 overpass near North Arlington. A person of interest in custody. Anderson police are investigating after a teenager was shot in the hand Monday. Harrison Silcox reports.
Police believe it happened during a fight, but they haven't named any suspects or made any arrests. The shooting happened outside of a convenience store off Beverly Court, which is near State Road 32 and Ribble Avenue. Everyone involved in the shooting ran off, except for the boy who was shot. He's expected to be okay. If you know what might have happened, call Anderson Police. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Sarah Benson was found dead inside of her Farmersburg home in January of 1981. Police don't have much to go on other than eyewitness descriptions of the suspect's car.
The vehicle was described as either an older Plymouth Valiant, kind of robin egg color, robin egg blue, or a second witness described it as a Chevy having a shiny blue paint. And the third witness described it as a clean bluish-green sedan.
Sullivan County Sheriff Jason Bobbitt says that witnesses ID'd a tall, thin white man in his 20s as the suspect. He urges you to call if you know anything else. Purdue head men's basketball coach Matt Painter says his team left a lot of points on the table thanks to some missed free throws in a 65-64 loss to Rutgers Monday.
It's not one person missing them, right? It's multiple people missing them and stuff. So just got to concentrate, just got to work on it.
Next up, the Ohio State Buckeyes on Thursday. I'm Kurt Darling on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. It is 5 minutes after 11, and you're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. So the new year's here. That also means that the state legislative session will begin on Monday, January 9th. It's going to be a long session this year. The lawmakers have to draft the state's biannual budget. They have to do that before they adjourn in April. And there are some top priorities that the legislature has. They plan to address education funding, public health spending, potential tax cuts, issues with inflation, teacher shortages, workforce development, meatpacking, and TikTok.
But the one topic you did not read, and the one topic that no one in the Indiana General Assembly is talking about at all, including the governor, who laid out his priorities, and his priorities were a bunch of leftist dream wishes, the environment, teacher unions, whatever, is the issue that will hit every single homeowner in the state of Indiana, some to different degrees than others, but almost every single homeowner in the state of Indiana will be impacted by rising property taxes. It is not an if question, it is a how much question. And some people are going to see their property taxes this year rise. And I'm not talking people who live in mansions. I'm talking about people who live in moderate middle-class homes will see their taxes raise, property taxes, by $1,000 or more this year.
Yeah. And this is on assessed property, which is the potential for what it could sell for if you were to sell it.
The entire property tax process has been broken and highly flawed from the very beginning. And the legislature has never had the courage to actually address the issue, which is that it is wholly unfair for the government to forever have a lien on your property, which is what property taxes are, right? Don't pay them, government can take your home for you. The government has had no help in me buying my home. I bought my home. Why does the government forever get a lien on my home? And the answer to that is because the government is evil and maniacal. And being evil and maniacal, they recognize that property taxes are the one tax you cannot get out of unless you want to live at a soup kitchen or wander the streets homeless. You have to opt into that tax. You cannot opt out. And so what we have is a system in which, and this is the only thing I can think of in which an unmonetized gain is taxed. When you buy stock and that stock goes up, which is essentially what a house is, it should be a place to live, but it is treated like by the government as an asset. Well, if you buy a stock, if you buy in, everything's down, so I'm just making a name up, Tesla, and Tesla goes up 20%, you are not taxed on that 20% gain until you sell that stock because the stock fluctuates, just like home prices fluctuate. But in the state of Indiana, you are taxed more every single time an unelected, appointed person in most cases, because the assessor sets the rate, but it is not the county assessor is not out assessing every home. It's an appointed person says, well, your house is worth $30,000 more than it was a year before. Why? Because I said so. Well, then, in a best case scenario, you have to take your own time and resources and money to go in front of an appeals board and prove that your house wasn't worth it. And the danger in that is, Casey, then you've opened Pandora's box because they can say, you know what, you're right.
It's worth even more.
Yeah, it wasn't worth $30,000 more. It was worth $60,000 more. This system is wholly broken, and it's been broken for decades. And the only reason people are going to be paying attention to it now is because they're about to open those spring property tax bills, and they're going to see how much they're getting screwed. And these Republicans, and people always say, why do you pick on the Republicans? Because they run everything. What Democrat am I supposed to pick on here? I'm not under any delusion that Democrats want to help with property taxes. I'm not under any delusion that the Democrat Party in Indiana is on the side of the taxpayer, but they're not in charge. The Republicans are in charge of everything, and this is the issue, and no one is talking about it.
It's also interesting that when you do get that bill, it looks like everything's due in May.
Yeah.
And it really isn't. It's not 100% due in May, so read that closely. And you talk about challenging the property tax. I've actually done that.
Yeah.
And it was in St. Joe County, which is northern Indiana, and there was a time there was this company that was running ads on the radio station. It was a lawyer. They said, hey, you know what, we're going to challenge this for you, and if you win, all you have to do is pay us half of what you gained. And everybody was taking advantage of this. So at one point, it was about over a 6-month period, 90% of the challenges went through because there was that one assessor. Well, once they kind of learned what was going on, they staffed up more assessors, and that's when they started putting the brakes on all of the challenges going through.
And I'm glad you won, but think about what you just said. You had to spend your own money because that attorney's not running a soup kitchen.
Right.
Now, you saved half, which is great for you.
Yes, but that's only 1 year because in the next year, you got to do it again.
Exactly. This, and I think the most frustrating thing about this is because oftentimes in public policy, look, reasonable people can disagree, right? You can say, well, this policy's working. Oh, no, it's not. Well, this or that. Nobody's disputing that the property taxes are about to skyrocket for most people. It's simple math. The assessments went way up, and when assessments go up, you're taxed on a percentage, your home is taxed on a percentage of that assessment. Nobody in the Indiana General Assembly is refuting that your property taxes are about to skyrocket. So we're not disagreeing on what's about to happen, but nobody is motivated to do anything. Casey, I spent 3 days fighting with Jim Lucas on Facebook about this. 3 days. Think about what he could have done in 3 days rather than fighting with me. Who he could have called, who he could have wrote, who he could have organized meetings with. He could put out his own policy, whatever. He spent 3 days trying to tell me, no, you're really lucky to live in Indiana. Shut up and pay. No, our taxes are lower than Illinois. You're really lucky that we're not Illinois. That's not the conversation here. The conversation is the Indiana Republican Party espouses to be the party of low taxes and limited government. And I had a 3-day conversation with this moron about how, well, what are you going to do if property taxes get lowered? The government might have to be cut. Sir, that's the premise of the party, Casey.
What is he? There's a surplus right now.
Thank you. Yes, they're sitting on an almost $6 billion surplus on top of that. And can we take a stroll down memory lane?
Yeah.
Can we go back in the time machine for a second?
How far back are we going? We're probably going way back.
Well, we're going to go way back to when the Earth was young, all the way back in 2008.
Okay.
Because remember, the whole reason for the property tax caps, which of course are made up and not real, because a cap would mean you can't go above it. And many, many communities across this state have gone way above it because of the school referendum. So the caps aren't even real. But let's just use the term cap for fun. When the property tax caps were put in place, they were put in place because the state of Indiana, led by Mitch Daniels at the time, agreed with residents that local governments, primarily school corporations, were totally out of control. The premise of the tax caps was to cut the government. The government was too big and too unaccountable. And now here we are just 14 years later, and I'm having a 3-day fight with one of the guys who's supposed to be one of the more conservative members of the General Assembly. So if he's here, think about where the rest of them are, about, well, but then there might be government that would have to be cut. Where would you take it from? That was the whole premise of the tax caps to begin with, is the taxes were totally out of control. The governments were totally unaccountable. And this was the taxpayer saying, our home is not your personal piggy bank. Now here we are just a decade and a half later, and taxes on properties now are higher than they were when the caps were put in place because of this flawed scam assessment process. And that's what the Republicans here want. They want to be able to look at you and go, well, I'd love to help you out, but property taxes, well, that's a local issue. And of course, we dictate how local governments operate around here, but that's a local issue, and, well, there's just nothing we can do.
Okay, so a couple things. The median annual property tax paid in Indiana is $1,263. However, you can expect that to go up. And you spent 3 days talking with Jim Lucas, going back and forth. I thought he was going to stay off of social media.
Well, he had after what did he?
I thought we had to talk about that.
Didn't he? Wasn't there something with the Holocaust where he had to go to the Holocaust Museum? Because I mean, we are fortunate that Jim Lucas has zero self-control and is a moron. Okay, because the rest of them, and I give credit, the rest of these people in the Indiana General Assembly, I know they talk behind my back and I know the things they say about me, but they have enough self-control not to say it in public and not to say it out loud. Now, they say it to the wrong people and it gets back to me. But we are very lucky that Jim Lucas exists because he has zero self-control and repeatedly puts his foot in his mouth. And no matter how many times he looks like an idiot, he just keeps coming back.
Well, surely after 3 days of going back and forth, you guys came up with a plan, or he, as an elected official, has a solution. Knows what he's going to get all of his buddies to do, right?
Nope. Here was the one post that summed it all up. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This was from State Representative Jim Lucas. Now, keep in mind, Casey, my job, I am a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen. I've never been convicted of a crime. I've never been charged of the crime. I've always paid all of my applicable taxes. I am in good standing with the Internal Revenue Service. I go to work each day. And this is how I'm being treated. We'll get to the second paragraph by a state representative because, well, I exist, Casey. The problem is that I exist. Rob Kendall, you should know that those property tax issues, tax rates, and assessments are determined at the local level. What did I tell you, Casey? Of course, Jim and the Republicans in Indiana write the laws on how the local governments operate. But if he can pass it off to the local level, well, then it's not my fault.
This is a case of NMJ. Not my job.
Yep, bingo. But he's certainly getting paid.
Yeah.
He's just not doing the job he's getting paid for. But that issue is being scrutinized at the state level to determine what the best course of action would be statewide to deal with the hand that D.C. has dealt us. Now, first of all, the idea that you're starting session with no plan means there's nothing of merit that's going to come out of this session. There's no way they're going to concoct a plan and get 150 people to agree on a plan if you don't have a bill when you start the session. So that's a joke. And you almost better hope they don't come up with a plan, because if they try to do it in the middle of session, it's going to be a disaster. Okay, that's the first side of this. Second of all, You've known about this for a year. We were talking about this a year ago. We were literally reading on the air, Casey, people's assessments, the increases when they were getting them in the mail.
Right.
And we were calculating how much taxes were going to go up. And these were people all over the state. These lawmakers knew about this a year ago. If you'd have started a year ago, you might have a really great plan if you really wanted to help keep people in their homes and keep property taxes under control. Third of all, what does Washington, D.C. have to do with property taxes in Indiana?
Right.
Jim Lucas and the Indiana Republicans have had no problem the past 3 years, like little piggies at a trough, letting Washington, D.C. dump barrels of cash that they threw $1 billion at public education with no accountability. I mean, it's an endless amount of the money that has flown in the COVID dollars. Now, let's get to the end of this little message to me. Now, keep in mind, I am a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen who goes to work every single day. And Jim Lucas, because he has zero self-control, we can always count on him to tell us the truth about what's going on. The worst thing we could do is offer up a knee-jerk reaction just to try to appease some disingenuous, intellectually dishonest, narcissistic ass that regurgitates the same thing on a daily basis on the radio.
He's talking about you, right?
Oh, he's talking about me. Now, think about that. He had a year. They've known about it for a year. He now considers a year, I guess it would be a knee-jerk reaction if they did something now. That's the first part of that. The second part is he's telling you not just him, he's just stupid enough to say it out loud. Thank you, Jim. You're wonderful. That they are not going to do anything for you. If you're hearing my voice right now, they know, the Indiana Republicans know, you're about to get screwed big time, and they're not going to do anything for you because Rob Kendall would get a win on the radio. That's sick.
Right.
That's sick.
You can't be right. And that's really going to hit a lot of people who are on fixed incomes.
No kidding.
Yeah. Especially if it goes up 100, 200, 300. You had somebody text you what they're going to pay.
I had a non-political person who did not want to be named because they don't want to be political. They don't want to be scrutinized. They just said they had just heard from, I think it was their mortgage company, because obviously it's going to affect what they put in escrow. Their middle class, very modest home was going to go up $115 a month in property taxes, which comes out to $1,384 a year. This is a person with multiple kids, hardworking guy. His wife is hardworking. Where is he going to come up with $1,384 for nothing? He didn't get any better government. He didn't get any more services. He just has to shut up and pay. $1,384.
On top of the fact that right now he's paying more for groceries and he's paying more for all of his utilities. Everything else is going up at the same time.
So let me say this, and then I'm going to be done with this for today.
Okay.
You're right, Jim. I do regurgitate the same thing on a daily basis on the radio. And you know why I regurgitate it? Because you and your buddies in the Indiana Republican Party know there's a problem. They know it's a looming crisis, and you won't do a damn thing about it. I promise you, if you fix this system that has been broken for decades, I won't say a single word about it. But until you guys do your job, I will stand up for the people because you won't do it.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Happening right now.
Things are happening.
A rail strike in the middle of the holidays.
Supply chain bottlenecks.
And make inflation worse.
And they're happening here.
Embarrassing, bad, downright ugly.
Washington now has a check and balance.
At the top and bottom of the hour.
More expensive airfare.
The Chinese government.
Pressure on Iran.
Hate has no place in this country.
Check in often.
Understand what's happening.
Always check for the latest local news.
On 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day and nothing worked until Mark Patrick hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food, crazy, enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again, my blood pressure went down, and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars, $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. January 19th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss 5:30, stop smoking 8 p.m. Or January 21st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop Smoking 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
The new year is here. Time for a change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand IT field with My Computer Career. In just months, already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus, and financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
There's only one company that meets the gold standard in hair restoration and hair transplants. We Grow Hair Indy. Hey, it's Rob, and I'm here with Darren Andrews. Darren, people are coming from all over the world to We Grow Hair Indy to grow their hair back.
Hey Rob, it's great to be here. Yes, they are. And Rob, as you well know, we are very proud of the technology and the results of We Grow Hair Indy. We Grow Hair Indy is one of only 2 places in the entire US that offers both the Artist Robotic FUE and our trademark procedure multi-unit hair grafting.
We Grow Hair Indy filled in my crown area and restored the hair on the top of my head. Call 888-724-5129 for a free evaluation. That's 888-724-5129 and grow your hair back. The one company that has the best technology and results. WeGrowHairIndy.com, the gold standard in hair restoration.
You're listening to Rob Kendall
From hell.
and Casey Daniels
Oh, hot. Want to touch the hiney.
on 93 WIBC.
South side of Chicago.
Good morning. It is 11:23. This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Indiana's Office of Technology announced that TikTok has been blocked from state devices.
What? Okay, Casey.
Yeah.
I've asked this question on social media and I got no valid answer because there is none. What possible reason would there be for any state employee? Now, I'm not talking about on your personal phone. Great. What possible reason would there be for a state employee to have had TikTok?
Yeah, on their
If you're
phone.
working on my behalf, your job with that state device, like your job as a state employee, is to work on my behalf. What possible thing could you be doing on TikTok that is on my behalf?
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people use it for brand extension.
Yeah, your brand extension is not working on my behalf.
It's true. A lot of people use it to show off their dancing skills.
Well, their dancing skills is also not working on my behalf.
A lot of people use it for their own personal hot takes.
Your personal hot takes also not working on my behalf.
There's a lot of recipes and cleaning
Again,
videos.
you don't. Let me say it slowly. Working on my behalf. What possible reason could there be for you to have TikTok? And this is the problem, right? We always hear. Think about this. We are led to believe by Jim Lucas and Eric Holcomb and the rest of these Indiana Republicans. Remember in the debate a couple years ago, Eric Holcomb, we've cut government to the bone. Your employees apparently have so little to do that they have TikTok on their state devices.
Well, not
Really?
anymore. Not anymore, because they're getting rid of them.
Who knows what those people, because who knows what that phone is connected to? And you had TikTok on your phone the entire...
Yeah.
This is everything I say about government in one story, right? State employees have TikTok on their state devices.
Yeah, I would say, you know what? Maybe it's for a news source, but nah, not TikTok. Not even that. I mean, you could almost justify Twitter as a news source that you needed updates.
On your own device.
Sure. Not on a state.
There is zero need
Not
on your state device to have social media. None.
Yeah, even Todd Rokita says that he said that it's more important than ever to protect children from the app. He's been encouraging parents to delete it from the children's phone. But to your point, on state devices, why do you need any social media then?
You don't.
On state devices.
The idea when these lawmakers talk about how there's no government to cut or we couldn't possibly give you any of your money back or all the money, bull. The amount of waste, they're going to probably pass a budget that is somewhere near $40 billion this year, Casey. You're going to tell me in a $40 billion budget, you couldn't find 10% of that to go back to the people? You wouldn't even know it's missing. It is what it is.
You're so frustrated. Active TikTok users, 1 billion monthly active users. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. It was the most downloaded app of last year. I'm sure it'll continue. Although with all the pushback it's been getting lately about security, maybe not. It'll slow down.
Real quick before we go to a break, because this is our first show of the year. And somebody in the chat said, by the way, you can watch the show on YouTube whenever you want. If you just go on and put Kendall and Casey in your YouTube search bar. Hey, Rob, do you ever get down from saying the same thing over and over? I agree with you on the taxes and our lawmakers, but it seems like you're talking to a brick wall. You're right. Yeah. In most cases, when it comes to 200 West Washington, I'm not trying to influence them. What I'm trying to do is to get you, the listener, to recognize what I've been saying here for 6 years, that those people down there, those Republicans, are not your friend. And until you're willing to punish them, they're going to keep treating you like an enemy. I'm not talking to them. I have zero faith in them doing the right thing. What I do have faith in is our audience. I do have faith in you. I do have faith that you will mobilize. And I do have faith that if we keep hammering this and you keep getting hurt enough by these Republicans, you will eventually recognize there is no one down there wearing a white hat. They're all wearing black hats, and they're all out to screw you.
And, well, Jim Lucas said you're saying the same thing. Well, until something changes, that's what you will continue to do.
Plus, I get paid an exorbitant amount of money to be here. And it's really a charmed life I live. I mean, I can't even go to the White Castle without getting recognized.
So does Kevin. He gets producer money. Hey, we've got Micah Beckwith is going to join us next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Does runaway inflation and reckless spending in Washington have you worried about the security of your hard-earned retirement savings? If so, it's time to call the precious metals experts at Fisher Capital. Fisher Capital specializes in helping investors like you diversify their retirement portfolio and preserve wealth with physical gold and silver. Whether you're looking to acquire coins or bars, open a gold IRA, or just want to learn more about the advantages of owning precious metals, Fisher Capital will equip you with the knowledge to make an informed decision that's right for you and your family. Call Fisher Capital today at 800-376-4333. That's 800-376-4333. Mention WIBC when you call to get a free no-obligation investor kit. 800-376-4333. 800-376-4333. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Don't lose another night's sleep worrying about the security of your retirement savings. Call Fisher Capital. 800-376-4333.
Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's. 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 Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's.
Get ready to celebrate the birthday of the King of Rock and Roll. And you're all invited as Omar presents the Elvis Tribute Artist Spectacular. Sunday, January 8th at the Egyptian Room at Old National Center, Indianapolis. Starring Sean Clush, Ryan Pelton, and introducing Moses Snow with special guest, the legendary Blackwood Quartet. Tickets are on sale now, so come celebrate Elvis's birthday. Visit etaspectacular.com today.
Planning for retirement all comes down to what matters most for you. Is it a vacation home? Is it traveling the globe? You could call the team at Howard Bailey Financial to help you plan for your retirement and to help you have a successful and fulfilling retirement. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people, and I'm excited to share that Singer Financial is now Howard Bailey Financial, an Indiana-based retirement planning firm.
The Howard Bailey team possesses credibility at both an ethical and professional standpoint. They will deliver you a customized framework that allows you to create the meaning of retirement. Whatever you visualize retirement to be, let the Howard Bailey team customize a plan specifically for you. If you're ready for your best retirement, come forward and see the Howard Bailey difference.
Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities, LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great.
Seminars January 19th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss 5:30, stop smoking 8 p.m. Or January 21st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop smoking 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Emmer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Universal support. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Damar Hamlin's teammates on the Buffalo Bills are rallying around him after he went into cardiac arrest during last night's game. On Twitter, quarterback Josh Allen posted, "Please pray for our brother." He's one of many from around the league who have posted well wishes on Twitter for Hamlin after the incident that led to last night's game being postponed. Hamlin is critical at a hospital in Cincinnati. Drama amongst Republicans over who will be Speaker of the House.
Kevin McCarthy has the most support, but that's not enough due to the opposition of at least 5 Republicans and perhaps more. The rule is that the House can't even swear in members and vote on bills until it has a speaker.
Fox's Chad Pergram. McCarthy needs 218 votes to be Speaker, a vote coming soon. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Amen. Amen.
It's time to go to church. Here to preach to the choir from the bully pulpit, Pastor Micah Beckwith.
93 WIBC. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. Let's go to the drivehubler.com hotline. The conservative voice of the state of Indiana, Pastor Micah Beckwith. Beckwith, I'm just going to ask you an open-ended question and let you go wherever you want to go with this. What in the world is wrong with your Republican friends?
Hey, Happy New Year to you guys, too. It's 2023, and yes, it's going to be a good year. So.
Okay, so I spent, as we talked about in the opening segment, basically the past 3 days fighting on social media with State Representative Jim Lucas, in which, I mean, no joke, Micah, 3 days, he's trying to convince me and a whole bunch of other people he doesn't know that the tax structure in this state is totally great, that the property taxes are great, you're getting phenomenal value for your money, shut up and pay. I mean, is this now the position of the Indiana Republican Party? Because I don't hear anyone objecting. I didn't hear the governor say this is a priority. They all know the property taxes are about to skyrocket because of the assessments. And the universal response is either silence or someone like Jim Lucas who says, no, it's all fine.
Well, I think, first of all, you and Jim both are on the same team here. I think
we're not.
Actually,
no.
Yes, you are.
No.
Yes, you are. You guys,
Micah.
You guys, I watch you both on social media, and I get my popcorn, and it is great entertainment, so I appreciate that. But you guys, I think what we have to remember is that Indiana certainly can do better. We always could do better. I mean, we're never going to be perfect. It's this more perfect union that we're always striving for. But what Jim was saying on what I read anyway was he was saying comparatively to the rest of the country, we're not doing terrible, and that's true. I mean, Indiana is one of the better places in the country to live. But to your point, Rob, like we still have some problems we got to fix, and so I think you both are right in some ways where it's like, hey, Indiana's doing okay, but boy, I mean, I've been disappointed in the Republican leadership over the last 4 years because we haven't taken the ball in those last few seconds of the game and capitalize. We kind of took a knee and said, well, let's just play this one out. And I think that's where I get frustrated, and guys like you get frustrated, where it's like, guys, we could have been the Florida. I mean, Eric Holcomb could have been the Ron DeSantis, and we could have been talking about Eric Holcomb for president if he just would have done what the Constitution says to do. And that's where my big beef with the Republican Party has been, is you guys have not done what the Constitution has said and given us our liberties and protected our liberties. And so that's the problem. But I do think Indiana is not California, and it's not New York, certainly, and it's certainly not Illinois. And so I think there's a little bit of a hey, you both kind of have a good point, but you're going to see the property taxes go up. I think that's true. And when and if that does happen, then people like you and Casey and myself, we can say, hey, well, you guys should have seen this coming. Why do you always play defense? Why are you never on offense? So I think that's my perspective in this whole thing.
Micah Beckwith is our guest. Okay, so where are we at on the taxpayer-funded campaign material that I get from the U.S. reps, the state reps, the House? Jim Baird sent me, who is my U.S. rep, a mailer, which cost who knows how much. I mean, this is not something they've done at Kinko's. They have spared no expense, and he's wasting government money to tell me how upset he is that Biden is wasting government money. Beckwith, if you are elected to Congress in 2024, are you going to cut the crap on the taxpayer-funded campaign material?
Well, I'm certainly going to make sure to use taxpayer money wisely. I'm not going to go out and blow it and do it just because everyone else is doing it. And I think that's probably where the Jim Bairds or just congressmen, especially on the Republican side, they know that it's probably wasteful. But here's the thing. The Democrats are doing it just as much, if not more. And it kind of goes back to take ballot harvesting in some states and mail-in ballots in some states. Democrats have done really well on using the system to their advantage. Republicans have said, well, we're purists. We're not going to do that. And look what's happened. It's killed them in some of these states where now they're saying, well, if this is the new game, this is how we have to play it. So to the Jim Bairds, what this is doing, while he's not campaigning technically, he is getting his name ID up in the district so that when election time comes around, we get another good Republican legislator elected. And the flip side of this, Rob, is what would happen if he didn't do this? The Democrats would gain more ground, and he's conceding ground. So I don't like how the system is laid out. I don't like that this happens. But what's the alternative? The alternative is for him to stop, and the Democrats now are going to gain ground. So I don't know. I don't know the right answer. I'm just telling you that's probably what's going on in their heads when they're saying, well, if we don't do this, we're going to lose ground. And you and I both agree that a Republican legislature in Washington is way better than having a socialist, Marxist, Democrat legislature.
I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure we agree on that. No, I mean, seriously, I don't see any difference, Mike. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if the argument is, well, we must waste money because if we don't waste money, the Democrats are going to waste money, then what am I even do? Why even vote?
Yeah, well, and to your point, then the other alternative is to let the Marxists get control, let the country go down in flames, and then once the ashes and the fires go out and it's just ashes left, then you rebuild the way that our founders intended to rebuild. So again, I mean, I think there's a time and a place to burn the ship down. I mean, I've said for a number of years that the FBI and the some of these three-letter agencies need to be completely dismantled and because they've become so abusive. And so yeah, I think there is, to your point, I think there is a time and a place to do that. But I'm just telling you what I think was probably going on in the heads of these legislators, where they're saying, well, the other side's doing it, and if we don't do it, it's just money lost. And that's not necessarily always a good way to be thinking, but I'm just telling you that's probably what they're saying.
Well, does anybody really think, though, that we're going to forget about inflation and the state of the economy?
Yeah. I think they do. I actually think, take what Todd Young just did after he got elected. He's got 6 years now, and how he totally flipped on his any conservative support he had. He lost it like a week after the election. And what's going through his head is I got 6 years. They're going to forget. I'm good for 6 years, and then about year 5, I'll start getting out there and start winning the Rob Kendalls over with my conservative talking points.
Wait. I don't know. Look, I mean, I'm going to go way back in the time machine here to, 2 months ago. I think we had this conversation, and I was told by someone, I don't know who, shut up, you got to vote for him because, well, do you want a bunch of Marxists? So, but it doesn't matter, right? I mean, I'm not the person to have this conversation with because I don't think there's really any difference anymore. What is the difference?
Well, I think the difference is the party platforms. Now, again, you're looking at leadership. You're looking at the people. I'm looking at the principles of the party. And if you put the party platforms next to each other, the Republican Party, far and large, is way better than any other party out there when it comes to constitutional values. Now, I would be all for having a Constitution party that basically says our principles or whatever the Constitution says, but we don't have that, and maybe we will someday. But I do think the Republican Party right now is the closest to pure constitutional principles that we have. And so I'm looking at it from a principled party platform perspective. Now, I know we've got pathetic leaders in the Republican Party. I get that. I understand that. But don't blame the party principles because of bad leadership. Blame bad leadership because that's what's going on.
Well, when they don't stick to the party principles, though, it's hard to believe him. I proudly serve Hoosier families in the U.S. Senate. That's what he said. Tell me, how does helping Hoosier how is spending $1.7 billion? Trillion. Thank you. How does that help Hoosier families?
It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I think, again, that's an egregious misstep by any Republican that voted on that omnibus bill. I think, we need to hold him accountable, whether it's 2 years from now or whether it's 6 years.
But what are you going to do to him? He's in there for 6 years. What are you going to do to him?
Well, I think you can certainly be a thorn in his flesh. I mean, you can shame him. I mean, that's really what it is. Our founding fathers, they knew that in the
he has no shame. You can't shame someone who has no shame. Todd Young has no shame.
That's fine. He may not feel shame, but you can certainly go out and say, hey, he has dropped the ball. He's absolutely been a disgrace when it comes to standing on true constitutional values. And honestly, after the last couple months or the last couple weeks here, I've even heard conservative family organizations that typically stay out of the mudslinging. They are now going after Todd Young and saying he's throwing marriage under the bus. He didn't stand on traditional marriage. And then we have people like, the Americans for Prosperity or you guys that are saying he's throwing fiscal responsibility under the bus. I mean, really, you just keep doing that. You harp on that for 6 years. Every time Todd Young's name come up, now you say, hey, this is the guy who's done X, Y, and Z. Don't forget it. And I do think then we'll get a good primary candidate to run in 5 years from now, and we can take them out.
Before I let you go, speaking of primary candidates, I think you would be proud of me. Casey will be proud of me, too. I engaged with a Republican over break, and it was somewhat civil, but I didn't get the response I was looking for, and so I'm going to ask you just real quick what next step I should take. Jim Banks, congressman, sent me a text message, and it simply said, Happy B-Day. And so I thought, well, maybe this is an olive branch of some sort, and I just responded, thank you, Senator. Please don't let Holcomb win. and I thought maybe this would be the olive branch. He'd be like, oh, I'd love to come on the show. That'd be great. Blah, blah, blah. And I got no response.
Oh.
Well, okay, first of all, did you ask him to come on the show?
No.
Or are you just kind of
He needs me. I don't need him. He doesn't do anything for me. He needs me. I was trying to be nice. Egregious mistake.
Oh, my gosh. This passive-aggressive thing. Okay, you gotta ask and say, hey, Jim, I'd love for you to come on the show. Let's talk about what's going on in your race and the potential Senate run. And then if he says no, go pound sand, then you can say, okay, he doesn't like me. But you got to at least ask him, Rob. Come on, this is like, dating 101. The girl, you don't go up and tease the girl and then hopefully she asks you on a date. You got to go ask her on a date. Come on, man.
Happy B-Day. That's not even full words. It's not even a sentence. I don't even think it was capitalized properly.
Well, from what I've learned from this conversation is Rob Kendall and Jim Banks are dating now.
I just wanted to put it out there that I was kind in my response, and I thought that was pretty clever.
Hey, I will say this. We did have an event last week, a couple days ago in Fishers, and Jim Banks came down and talked to a group of just kind of conservative leaders in the Fishers area. And he was really impressive. I mean, I loved what he was saying about, where he believes that we should take the Senate. And he was, he's been a fighter. I think he's got a proven record of, like, fighting the culture war. That's what I want. I want our Republican legislators to be culture warriors that won't be afraid of the cancel culture and the woke mob. And Jim Banks has proven that
well,
he's not.
I know he listens, and so if he sends me the following correspondence, Rob, I would love to come on the show. I would be happy to have him on the show.
Okay, well, good. Well, why don't you just send him a text? And say,
That's not
hey,
how
I'd
it works,
love to have
Micah.
you come on.
No. He is the one who needs something. I don't need anything from him.
You do that every Monday to me. You say, hey, Micah, would love to have you on the show tomorrow on Tuesday.
You are my friend. I like you. There's a difference. You've been very good to me. You have not stolen You've not stolen a single dime from me in Washington, D.C., Micah. Micah Beckwith, the conservative voice of America. Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year, guys. Thanks.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
We say Merry Christmas at R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. We recently saved one of Indy's oldest small businesses over $5,000 per month on their group coverage for 10 employees. We are saving early retiring clients 50% when compared to their COBRA coverage. Now they can afford to retire. You've been told the ACA, you know it's still Obamacare, is your only option on individual coverage. If you're sick and you don't have any income, that's true. If you are reasonably healthy and have a livable household income, the ACA is your worst option. You've also been told if enrolled, you must keep your coverage for a year. That is also not true. Don't let the federal government or the big insurance company cronies tell you that you don't have a choice. Call us at 317-435-1718 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-435-1718 or rragency.org. We can help. Give us a call. What do you got to lose? As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
The new year is here. Time for a change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand IT field with My Computer Career. In just months, already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus, and financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today, based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Some people get COVID and thought, well, that wasn't such a big deal. But you can get COVID again, and next time it could be worse, especially for those 50 and older, or with a chronic condition like heart disease or diabetes. But with an updated vaccine, you have better protection from COVID's worst outcomes, and that's a big deal. Find updated COVID vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
It's Jesse Kelly. Why do you think so many countries have huge gold reserves? Gold lasts. The value of gold lasts. How many times have I told you, buy things you can touch and feel because you know the value lasts. There's nothing like precious metals, nothing out there like it. I buy all my gold from Oxford Gold Group. 833-974 $1,300. They'll deliver it to your front door. Oxford Gold Group.
Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer.
Good morning. It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It is 11:51, and the head of NASA worried that China may claim the moon as its own territory and prevent the U.S. from landing there again. The administrator, his name is Bill Nelson, he said, "It's a fact. We're in a space race." Okay, so...
It sounds like a Dr. Evil thing, right?
Yeah.
Like somebody's going to claim the moon.
Well, okay, he goes on to say that...
How would you even claim the moon?
And if you're there, what are they going to do? Come in 4 or 5 days?
Fire the laser! I mean, let's say theoretically, I'm going to claim Brownsburg, Indiana. Now, China could theoretically claim, because it's like you could wall that off or whatever, right? I'm not talking about the logistics of it. But the moon is a gigantic structure, and I'm not a moonologist, but I'm guessing that there's a lot of places you could land on the moon, and seeing as how the moon is totally uncultivated, it isn't like, I don't know, I guess China wouldn't have enough resources there to just start shooting people out of the sky from the moon. You couldn't live on the moon.
Well, and what if you're already on the moon, and then all of a sudden, China's coming? Okay, we have to get out of here.
Exactly.
In 4 or 5 days.
It sounds like an idle threat, although the idea of China having the moon does alarm me a great deal.
Okay, so
the government fear-mongering is working.
Well, is that what it sounds like to you, fear-mongering?
Well, it's all the government ever does. We must spend money on this. We must do that. We must this. We must that. And it's always the world's going to end.
It's funny you say that, because here in my notes I have, sounds to me like someone at NASA is conjuring fear for funding.
Oh! And I didn't even see your notes. That's so great.
Yeah. So same thing, right? Give us more money because another country is going to claim China. Well, they say that they want it as a base, a bouncing off, a jumping off point for exploration and scientific missions.
Maybe that would be the best thing to happen to planet Earth, is if we just sent China to the moon.
Well, does Manifest Destiny count in space?
There was a great song, called an oldie, Kevin, called Everyone's Gone to the Moon. You might find that one as our outro music today.
I'm on it.
Yeah, Everyone's Gone to the Moon was the name of it. It was one of those groups like Chad and Jeremy or somebody like that from the 60s.
Yeah, I've heard of them. I think Denny Smith loves them.
That seems like the sort of group that Denny Smith would be all... I bet Denny Smith has the most comprehensive record collection of Chad and Jeremy this side of the Mississippi.
That's the bingo. Okay, so let's talk about Todd Young's tweets.
Casey wanted to do this. I had no role in this whatsoever. I said it's a terrible idea to be so mean to Todd Young.
So he sent out multiple greetings over the past week, obviously wishing everybody Merry Christmas. And he also said, "I wish all Hoosiers a happy and safe New Year."
Yes.
Okay, so imagine me. I'm sitting on my couch and I'm going through Twitter and I see this post from Todd Young. "I wish all Hoosiers a happy and safe New Year." My first instinct, straight to the comments. Because
it's probably a lot of peace on earth, goodwill to men type responses.
From the guy that voted yes on the $1.7 trillion omnibus bill, Republican in name only, Rhino. Somebody else says, exactly. To Hoosiers or to special interests? Rhino. Again. All Hoosiers in this new year wish you would do your job. This is another comment.
On the Christmas greeting.
On the Christmas greeting. Someone start a petition to recall Senator Todd Young. I'd like to see a Twitter survey. The question should be, should Senator Todd Young resign? Yes or no? Didn't you do a Twitter survey, something like that?
Probably. I probably did something way more offensive than that. I just loved it on the Christmas greeting. The guy's voting record is so egregious that even on the Christmas greeting, people are like, eat crap.
You support the omnibus and betrayed Hoosiers, all caps, betrayed. Here's another comment for Todd Young. Happy spending, Rhino. Traitor. Same to you and best wishes, Rhino. And then lastly, get bent.
Well, here's the thing, though, that we've talked about, and we've talked about it many times, and we did our best to warn people, and he didn't even take a week before he started in on it. Your only chance to get him is at the ballot box. And when you roll over and play dead, and when you vote out of fear, and you just give this guy, and look, these Todd Young people are all over the Republican Party. This is what you get. You can't stop him. He doesn't care about you. He has no moral compass. His right and wrong is whatever his daddy, Mitch McConnell, tells him to do. So you can't stop him. That's why I was so adamant. Yes! I'm just going to let this roll out. You go ahead and do the outro. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Rob. Good job, Kevin. And thank you for listening. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Yeah! Everyone's gone to the moon. Everyone's gone to the moon.
Hey, it's Rob. After years of struggling with thinning hair, I was ready to grow my hair back. That's why I went to We Grow Hair Indie. Here's Darren Andrews to tell you more.
For over 20 years, we've been restoring hair for men and women with every type of hair loss and every ethnicity. No matter the reason for your hair loss, we're here to help. And our friend Rajiv Ram, two-time Olympian and tennis professional, can attest to this.
I wanted more hair, and they have the best technology there is for it. We Grow Hair Indie cared about me and did exactly what they said they would. The results have been amazing.
With We Grow Hair Indie's trademark multi-unit hair grafting, I got more hair with a single procedure. People tell me all the time how great my hair looks, and yours can too. Call now for your free evaluation and grow your hair back. Call 888-724-5129. That's 888-724-5129. Or go to WeGrowHairIndie.com, the gold standard in hair restoration.
Everyone knows that in Indiana, game time.
Here's a deep three. Halliburton
means family time.
He's got family in Kokomo. That might have been from Howard County.
Friday is Lucas Oil Family Night when your Pacers meet the Portland Trailblazers. Every family night ticket includes a Pacers hat, hot dog, chips, and small Pepsi product. Tickets in this promotion start at just $20 at pacers.com/family. Pacers Trailblazers. Family Night, Friday at 7.
The Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show is this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. For hunting, sporting, and personal protection gear, visit the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs. You just bought a home in the suburbs, but no one told you about all the birds, specifically this one, who seems to be calling out Roy. Roy. But who exactly is Roy? And why doesn't he ever respond? Maybe Roy is just bird speak for save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto. I guess until Roy answers, we'll never know. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided in